It's getting good reviews.
Yeah. Getting great all over.
Alright, we are live. Well, we're not live on Twitch. They can hear us on Twitch.
Okay, well, I will not say what I was about to say.
Alex, are you here?
He had said he was going to take a quick bio.
You had to go take the Browns to the Super Bowl. Wow, nobody responded to that one.
No, I got it.
I know, but it's just nobody responded. Everybody's just like casual.
What was I supposed to laugh? Was that supposed to be funny?
You were supposed to say yes or no or something.
Yeah, he's taking an old Tuesday. So that's what I call it. I call it number Tuesday. And I'll forget where I was at. Me and my wife and daughter were doing something, and she's like, "I gotta go to the restroom." I was like, yelled out across the thing. I was like, we were probably at a grocery store or something. I was like, "Oh, you gotta take a number two ski?" Without missing a beat, turns around, "Nope, Dad, just a one ski." I just was smiling. I was like, "That's my daughter." Like, didn't get embarrassed and completely had like on a dime. Something to
Alex is coming back.
About time to get beard down, man.
Since I was sick, I didn't shave at all during the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah, this is too long for my case.
I shaved on the 1st, so this is 2 weeks later.
I still can't see it, so I'm gonna have to take your word for it.
Check Twitch.
I'm on Twitch, but it doesn't show anything. It just says the circus games. It's because I have a new PC and it's making me log in because I've never logged into Twitch on that thing on. I gotta go to freaking.
You gotta log in anyway to use your Twitch Prime sub.
I don't think I can use it. Well, no, maybe I can use it now.
Hi, I'm back, y'all. Just so you know.
Yeah, Tricky said you were dropping old Boosty.
I was in the bathroom, but yes, I did drop that. I don't want to be holding that in on the show. I'm trying to sit here and enjoy this and not hate myself.
So he didn't want to be like Tricky. He didn't want to be full.
I'm pretty sure at this point, Tricky, the reason he's not on camera is because he is recording from the bathroom.
I am on camera, God bless America.
Oh, dude, yo.
The toilet.
So check it out. In 2009, when my band Ninja Loot filmed, we recorded our Beards and Bellies EP. The vocalist took the microphone into the bathroom, which was literally next to the. I mean, it's like here's the bathroom door, here's the door to the studio recording area. So it's like ran the cord over there, dropping a deuce. There's a line in one of the songs on the song's called Snakes and Sparklers. One of the lines he recorded was on the toilet.
Was the snake coming out of his butt at the time?
Yeah, it's coming out so hard it calls the sparkler. Hence the name.
I hope you missed this, you son of a bitch. Take it!
Are you watching the NFL game, Tricky?
I'm watching the Giants game.
I thought you didn't care about NFL.
You'd be surprised. I was gonna say, and you better be happy because I'm not only am I watching the Giants game, I'm not watching the Rangers game.
Why are you watching the Giants when you said you don't care about NFL?
No, I don't care about the NFL until it hits the Bears.
All right, you greedy son of a mother liquor. I just gave him a sip. January 15th, 2023. It's my 4-month sub-anniversary. You're not even on Twitch right now. So what are you?
I am
You're
on Twitch.
late. You're on Twitch.
Yep, Resident Darrell. He's on there. Alright. So everybody, we're about to get started. I'm gonna mute the mics for a second just to get us going, then we'll be back in 2 seconds.
are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve,
and Sid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This episode, Triple Nickel. That's the 555. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Alex.
I know the NFL playoffs are going on right now, but we're fielding a real playoff quality team here on Trophy Horse this week.
He used to be. Darrell, I got to come up with a new intro for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you pretty much blew it there when you said his name before the big, pomp and circumstance.
It's Darrell.
Early.
It's Darrell. And he is the man who is still convinced Breath of the Wild is a Zelda game. It's Matt G.
It doesn't take much convincing when it actually is.
It's
I don't get why, Tricky, we have guests that come on to share their free time with us, and then you got to insult them by giving them lame intros.
You know what I don't get? How me and our two guests are both on camera, and you're still hiding behind a non-camera situation.
Look, man, I told you it slows down the computer, and I don't want to have to reboot this computer mid-show. So this is the way we do things. And also, were people complaining that you weren't on camera? You're not on camera in the chat.
I'm on camera right now.
Or
No, you're not.
Wait,
You just search Pew from Gamer.
Maybe he's still in the bathroom. You never know.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Alex, because, I'm asked to be a guest on the show, and the first thing he does is give me shit about Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then in the show notes, he writes a whole lot of ha 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 ha's next to my 0 count platinum.
Well, okay, to be fair, the reason I came up with the Breath of the Wild intro is because you're literally wearing a Legend of Zelda shirt right now, which, when I looked at you, that's what popped in my head. Not to mention, I think it's worth noting, I got yelled at literally 5 seconds after I asked Matt G to be on the show. I got yelled at by his wife.
Well,
Yeah, because it's not just his time, it's her time as well.
No, she was upset that I invited him and not her.
I mean, maybe it wouldn't hurt to have her on the show once in a while.
I invited her on the show. She said no.
Sometimes you just like to be invited to the ball. It just feels good to be invited.
Darrell's talking,
Also,
but there's
I mean,
nothing
look,
coming out of his mouth.
Let's be real. Name someone that you would consider more of a Zelda expert than Matt G.
Me?
What are you talking about? Get out of here. Get out of here, Tricky. The only thing you know about Zelda is that Link to the Past is your favorite Zelda game. That's all you know.
And
He says that. There's no real proof of it, because out of all the games he's ever played and streamed, have you ever seen him stream a Zelda game?
Yes, I have. I've streamed Breath of the Wild, and I've streamed Link to the Past during your campaign to call me a liar during the backlog beatdown.
Well, he's got plenty of evidence. But here, okay, let me
I
ask you
remember
this
this.
question, listeners. So, if you were a true Zelda fan and you found a box copy of A Link to the Past and it was your favorite game, would you not buy it, or at least ask a friend who found it to buy it for you?
I did ask you to buy it for me.
No, you did not.
I
just said it was the best Zelda game ever, and that's all.
I said buy it for me.
He did not. Folks, I found a box copy of, not sealed, but it had the box and everything at one of my local game shops. Like I found the sealed copy of Heavenly Sword for $100 today. So nice. I sent a picture to Tricky of the box copy of A Link to the Past because I know that he likes that game a lot. And all he said was best Zelda game ever.
You know
nothing about buying it, nothing like that.
Hold on. Alex is right, because the message buy it for me never sent. I'm looking at my text messages right now.
Matt, if you were a true Zelda fan and it was an old school Zelda game, there was a box copy of it, would you not want someone, if you didn't have it, would you not want somebody to buy it for you?
If they had access to it and I had the ability to send money quickly, absolutely.
Okay, how much would Matt? How much would you have paid for it?
Box copy with everything intact? I'd probably go upwards of 150.
Okay, I'm looking at the picture right now, and I'll show it to the stream. I don't know if you guys have the Twitch stream up, but here's the picture of it. If it focuses, I don't know if it's gonna focus. It's not focusing. Anyway, $219.99.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's richer than what I would go for it, but it doesn't mean it's unearned or undeserved.
All right. Let's get back on track here. What are we doing? Because I was going to give... I have a PSA. And it's kind of a funny story, and I don't think you guys are going to find it as funny as I did. But I recently bought some new thermals, and you guys can see I'm wearing them right now. So I'm basically wearing, like, underwear on the show right now.
Are we all, or are none of us? I forgot the rules.
But I used to wear thermals that are like rough is the wrong word, but they had some texture to it, like you could feel them on it. These are so freaking silky smooth that I was wearing my jeans, and my pants fell off my ass, and I never even felt them. So, cautionary tale: if you're gonna buy silky thermals, wear a belt or at least suspenders.
No underwear though.
Okay. Legacy's in the chat. He says, "I come to see the skill. Good that you stopped by in the beginning because that's when the skill normally comes out." He's also said, "I just got flashbanged by an Obama phone." I'm not gonna go there. I'm just gonna say, this is the Fold 4. I love this phone. I even like the. I wish you guys could see it. I have a PlayStation moving background. Let me see if you guys can see it that way. Nope, can't see it that way. But that big white mark, that's the PlayStation symbols rotating. Anyway, let's get back on the show. Let's do our updated trophy count. I am level 810, total trophies of 23,754 with 622 platinums. I got 5 more this week. Don't need to say what they are because they're all spam. Alex?
I am level none of your damn business there, Tricky Mick. You nosy bastard.
This is Alex installed because he doesn't have the agenda up.
I do a good job of it. I forget that it's coming every single week. Level 468.
That's what she said.
Level 468, total trophy count of 8,333 with a platinum count of 135 in 134 games.
Nitro says, "Sorry you came to the wrong place if you're looking for skill Latin Legacy." Oh, damn, both of you shake your head at the same time. And I bet Alex was shaking his head if I couldn't see them. Yield is level 485, total trophies of 9,064 with 162 platinums. He has a new platinum this week. Sid is level 445, total trophies of 5,653 with 157 platinums. I'm sure he got one this week. Darrell, I don't know because you didn't go to the agenda and update your trophies.
I did not, but I am a level 687 total trophy count of 16,672 with a platinum count of 377. My latest platinum, I believe, was My Name is Mayo 3. Nope, Pinball Heroes. But My Name is Mayo 3 was my first platinum this year.
And Matt G.
I am level 217 with a total trophy count of 1,248 and 0 platinums, as I mentioned earlier. And despite Tricky's mocking me, I'm very proud of my 0 platinum count.
I'm a little scared because Darrell just went off camera and came back with a whole bunch of boxes and bags. He's not even listening to this because his headset's off.
Hey, Tricky, I hope you got my audio because somewhere along the way it stopped.
I hate you, Alex.
I don't know what happened. All right. Hold on. Let me save this and restart.
I do have a backup to the backup of the backup, so.
Of the back.
Yeah, hold on. Let me save this real quick.
All right, while we're waiting for Alex, Proven Bot wants to know, if you could only wear comfortable or fashionable clothing for the rest of your life, would you choose?
Comfortable all day long.
Matt?
Comfortable.
Absolutely comfortable.
Hey, so we're bantering for a minute while Alex is rebooting and stuff.
Yes.
Got 2 stories for the podcast.
Oh,
if
God.
you're willing to hear them out.
Oh, boy.
All right. Story number 1. I have been negotiating a Facebook Marketplace deal for like 2 weeks now. It was supposed to be 39 PlayStation 3 games for $200. I thought $200 was a little high when I buy in bulk like that. I try to keep it to the $3 range. $4 to $5 a piece gets a little pricey, especially because if you're going to get a lot of 49 games, there's going to be a lot of sports games in there. Sports games, at best, I'll pay $1 for, just because there's no resale value in them. And aside from wanting a complete collection, there's no point in having them. Okay, most people don't replay old sports games.
At least you pay more than GameStop, because GameStop only gives you like 49 cents.
Right, and then Resident Darrell will give you $1. But that being said, I've been negotiating this deal with these people, and they've been very pushy with me coming to pick up ASAP, and they've been flip-flopping on the price. Okay, so we've been going back and forth, and I'm like, look, there's about 4 or 5 games I'm going to buy out of this lot regardless. If you can't meet me where I want to be as far as price goes for the whole thing, that's fine. You keep them. I'll just buy the ones I committed to. So that being said, I go, and today I drive all the way out to these people. It's way in BFE. And they bring me the games. And they messaged me last night. They said, fine, we'll do $150 for 49 games. I was like, perfect. So I get out there. They come out of their house, because I meet them at their house, and they've got armloads of games. I'm like, perfect. 36 games. I'm like, the ad that we were negotiating was 49 games. And they're like, no, this is all we got left. We sold some yesterday. I'm like, motherfreaky, we just committed to this and then you sold some. So I said, well, I'm not paying $150 for 36 games when the majority of them are sports games. I was like, I'm not willing to do that. And the number 1 game I was after, you sold. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was the one that I wanted, because that resells, anywhere from $40 to $60 if it's complete and in good condition. And I already own it. So I was going to essentially buy the lot, pull what I wanted out of it, and sell the rest. So I get a handful of games. Now they're dropping them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to do this little handoff. We're standing outside. There's like someone's got an arm load here. Someone's got an arm load here. I've got a handful. I said, well, tell you what, let me do this. Since I drove all the way out here, I'm going to buy the games I committed to. You sold some of the ones I wanted. So I pulled out a few games. I start checking the boxes, and I know I missed one as I was kind of shuffling through things. And like, here's a portion of a stack, here's a stack, whatever. I ended up getting 5 games for $20. So we get to our final destination, and then while everyone's out doing their thing, I go back to the van, and I'm like, let me double check that last box. Guys, I opened up a copy of Tony Hawk 5, okay, on Xbox One, which wasn't supposed to be in the deal to begin with. But I was like, hey, if you're bringing them out here and I can get it for $4, I'm taking it. I opened that junk up, not 1, but 2 dead roaches in the case.
Ah,
Yummy.
It was so bad.
that's why they were trying to get rid of them.
Bro, I got Shaq Fu for PS4. That was also not supposed to be in the deal, but I mean, it was there, so I took it. And like, I got it, and I opened it up, and there was like spider webs in it. I'm like, what the frick are you doing?
I'm burning that case right there.
Like, I know, no spider, but spider webs. Like,
if there's a web, there's a spider near around. That's all.
Somewhere.
Yeah. What was the one game you wanted that they ended up selling off?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That one was sold. And now I did get Spec Ops: The Line, which I already owned, but they had a copy of it. My PS3 copy is not complete. I have it on Xbox One complete, but I didn't have PS3 complete. So,
all right, pause 1 second. Alex, you back up?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, now Alex is back.
Hold on. Let me do a countdown with him.
Important.
Let me do a countdown with him. You recording?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, go ahead.
Okay, Alex, you said you saw a copy of Heavenly Sword sealed?
Yes, sir.
Did you pick it up?
I did not. It was $100 there, and I've seen it online for like half that. So right. I think they're overcharging at that collectibles market for it.
100%. So what I have in my hand right now is 5 unopened packages and a box right here. I've been sitting on these for like 2 weeks now because my kids are supposed to open all these for me. In one of these packages is a copy of Heavenly Sword Complete that I just picked up. I've been buying games offline and I've been stacking them. And my kids, I'm going to have them open them. And then we've got this one single small can of root beer in my fridge. They keep arguing over. And I kid you not, every day, one of the 3 will ask me, Dad, can I have the root beer? No, because you guys were arguing over it. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to buy more root beer. There's going to be the one, and it's going to sit here
and
because you guys all fought over it.
And you guys are going to be tortured.
Exactly. So,
If I'm asked a key question, what kind of root beer is it?
I wish it was Barks, but it's A&W.
That'll do, though. That'll do.
You know what
A&W is good.
You got to make a root beer float with that, though.
Exactly, and that's what they want to do because we've got the Costco's premium vanilla ice cream, so good. So check it out.
Just for the record, the only root beer you should use for a root beer float is A&W.
I don't disagree with that. I like Barks root beer. I think that one tastes the best, but I think A&W root beer in a float is really
Barks root beer by itself is the best. But if you're gonna make a root beer float, it has to be A&W.
I agree, 100%. I agree with that 1,000%. Actually, I think that is sound, solid advice, and I dig that. So check it out. So what I told them I'm going to do is this: I'm going to pass out these. There's 3 kids. I got 6 packages. One of them's got 10 games in it though. Some of them have 2. Some of them only have 1. So what we're going to do this week, probably tomorrow maybe, is they're going to open it. Whoever has the most valuable game in it gets the root beer.
Ooh.
And the thing is I've been sitting on these for so long now, I don't even know what's what. I do know that one of these has 2 Nintendo Switch games in it. One of them has 1 Nintendo Switch game in it. One of them has Heavenly Sword in it. And then I don't have a freaking clue what's in the tin. I know there's a copy of Batman Arkham, one of the Arkham games in it, but it was a random lot of 10 games, and I bought it for them to shoot a video, and then never did anything with it. So, anyways, you said Heavenly Sword, and I was like, man, I got all these freaking packages, and Heavenly Sword's in here somewhere.
All right, moving on with the show a little bit. After that, we know a piece of Dell stories. Nitro says, I support Alex's thoughts on Breath of the Wild being a Zelda game. Well, nobody really cares about your opinion there, Nitro.
I do, Nitro.
We do, Nitro.
And Legacy says, my neighborhood crackheads take better care of their games that they try to sell me.
Right. It was nasty. I've seen some stuff lately, dude. I got a video I'm getting ready to do. Basically dumpster diving, essentially. We found this random place full of games and stuff. Well, it was a random spot, and we found games in it. Holy crap.
Are any of those games have a rarity?
The trophies might be rare.
Yeah. Speaking of rare trophies, we have an update from Garrett, who sent in an audio. You're also going to be able to hear this on the Loop Brothers when they release their show. But sit back and relax because Garrett went full in depth. He gives us a 13-minute update to the rarity contest.
He did a really good job.
Greetings from the UK. Welcome to the first edition of the annual rarity contest update. We're into week 2 of this now, in collaboration with the Loot Bros podcast and the Trophy Whores podcast. You can find details of the contest on Facebook under the Trophy Looting group. There'll also be updates on each of the podcast's Facebook groups as well. It's been a really successful start so far. We've had more people join as we've gone on, and it's got more exposure. We're 2 weeks into it now, and points seem to be flowing. Certainly the second week more so than the first. So I'll get into updating the tables for you. I have done it on the Trophy Looting site, albeit the images of them are not the greatest, but I have sort of split it into 2. Those of you who have seen it on the group will notice that I've also added a couple of other statistics, which will be quite interesting to go through over the year. So the first one is the rare for each contestant, their rarest trophy of the week that they've earned, and in what game that is, and they're also their rarest trophy of the year. And obviously, as they get rarer, I'll update that. I would have thought I'll be updating Tricky's first, seeing as his rarest trophies earned in 2023 is at 92.11%.
I'm proud of it.
Embarrassing, but there we go.
You're a
So what I'll do is I'll do the table in reverse order from top to bottom. So we have 2 new entries this week. So they have only had their baseline trophies taken today, and that is Darth Knight 82 and the Grounded Gamer. So they will go into next week's update. So propping up the table is Tross0726, who has an overall score of -5. Next on the leaderboard, the Bearded Nerd, Zach, has yet to get off the mark, 0 points. Not played anything yet by the looks of it, seeing as there is no trophies earned since December. Just going back to Tross's trophies, his rarest trophy of the week is Slake Buster in Guardians of the Galaxy, which has a 50.37% rarity value. Next up from the Beard Nerds is the commish JT, that one Seagull, and he has moved up. He's gained 5 points this week to take him into the positives, so he's out of the negatives at least. He's on 2 points, with his most rarest trophy being in Final Fantasy Crisis Core, male completionist, a 43.81 rarity value. Next up is Kalai, and she's managed to take herself away from the Switch and PC gaming, and she's done a little bit on the PlayStation. She's on level points with JT on 2, and her rarest trophy is Acrobatic in Neon Abyss, 24.86%, so an uncommon trophy there. Not a game I'm familiar with. Next up, Tricky Mick. What can we say about Tricky Mick?
A whole lot.
6,613 common trophies since the 1st of January.
First place.
Come at me, bro.
Not much going on else other than that on the other sides of it. His his rarest trophy, Knock Off the Rust, God of War Ragnarok, 92.11%. Brilliant. Above Tricky is Sadak. It comes in. Sadak is on 8 points, with an increase of 5 this week. Combo Creator, Earth Defense 4.1 at 29.25%. Dropping down the table, the Brain 76. Riley has increased. He's has got +3, very rare increase, so that's worth 5 points each one of those. However, he did lose 4 of his rare trophies, so he lost 12 points, so only a net +3 on that basis. But he is a little jump up from 8 points, which was tricky. He's on 13 with a 9 weekly increased score, but sadly didn't earn a trophy this week. Resident Darrell is next up. He's moved off the bottom, was on -3 from last week. He is now on +15 with his latest and his rarest trophy, Bulldozed in Gotham Knights, 45.84% rarity. Level on points with Resident Darrell is Stink Palm, 15 points, has done 15 points this week. Never Been Better, Minecraft Dungeons, 13.73%, so a rare trophy there. Homer Get Stuff next. He is on 22 points with a weekly increase of 6, but again, not earned a trophy this week. However, his rarest trophy to date of the year is Stargazer in Dragon Age Inquisition at 18.95%. Next up, from the UK, Dupes 25. Dupes is on 43 points, so a 21-point gap now between Homer and Dupes. He had a 24-point increase this week, and a pretty rare trophy actually. He made his 4th degree in Hidden Agenda, which is one of those that you play games or something, with the use of mobile devices.
It's a great game.
Not played it myself. Do own it, like a lot of these games, but not played it. MZ Nitro has dropped down from 4th place, and he is on 3 points ahead of Dupes on 46, an increase of 15.
He still sucks.
He is
major.
Nightcap, Mahjong, Royal Towers. Not a game I own. Probably won't ever own. But 19.94% rarity. Not as rare as his overall. Jack of all trades and Mafia 3 at 15.22 is his rarest to date. Okay, so I think we're now in the top 8. top 8. So in 8th place, Yield. And Yield has moved up the leaderboard, and he had a 28-point increase. Is on 50 points with his rarest this week of Completionist Shadow of Tomb Raider at 18.67%. 7th place, big jump up for CJ, the original spam artist. Obviously doing a bit more rarer hunting these days, despite his 90,672 common trophies. Total points of 52 and at a weekly increase of 36. And his rarest trophy this week is Full Crew in The Witcher 3, 13.03%. Top 6, Joe, Mr. TMNT84, makes the top 6. 74 points overall, 34 points this week. No, I tell a lie. That was wrong. I was reading someone else's. He's on 56 points with 30 points this week. And his rarest trophy, new paint job in Monster Jam Steel Titans 2, 17.71%. Mies Goats a lot is next at 5th, all the way from New Zealand. And Mies Goats a lot, 74 points, an increase of 34. Dapper Kappa in Bug Snacks, 24.14% is his rarest trophy of the week. Top 4, and Alex from the Trophy Horse podcast, Race Havoc, comes in, and he's the first of our contestants to break the 100-point barrier. With a huge increase of 83 points. He's on 109 points overall, and he earned Legend of Weird West, which was the Platinum Trophy in Weird West, new game that came out. One I do want to get. Heard good things about it, but that has put him up into the top 4. Big increase. Well done, Alex. Another big increase, Redbeard Rick from the UK. He posted the biggest increase, the weekly increase out of anybody, 98-point increase, giving him 117 points overall. And his rarest trophy, he achieved Platinum Trophy, nice original name, in Fallout New Vegas, which was a 6.95% rarity, so a very rare trophy as per PSN profiles. At number 2, dropping 1, Marky Fraser on 121 points, increase of 63. I Believe in a Higher Power, Gems of War, a 2.92% rarity, so an ultra rare this week he did achieve, which gives him 3 ultra rares overall actually, so pretty good going from Marky. A little bit embarrassed to say it, but number 1 is me. Not fixed at all, but
Totally fixed.
Don't be bashful here.
Totally fixed.
With a weekly increase of 95, and my rarest trophy was the Platinum in Star Wars Battlefront 2 at 4.23%. 95 points this week. So that's the league table. That is posted up on Facebook in the Trophy Looting group. What I would also do is I'm going to give you the top 5 rarest trophies of the week and what they are for. And again, the rarest trophies of 2023. It'll be a regular thing, certainly of the week. The rarest trophies of 2023 I'll do is maybe every month once there is a change to it. So first off, the top 5 rarest trophies of the week is Dupes in number. So this is of the week. So 5th place, 4th Degree Hidden Agenda by Dupes, and that was 4th Degree is for Felicity Burns to Death. Not good for Felicity. Number 4, Legend of Weird West, and that was from Alex, and that was a Platinum. Number 3, Fallout New Vegas, Platinum from Rick. Number 2, the Platinum Trophy for Star Wars Battlefront 2 by myself at 4.23. And the rarest trophy of the week was attained by Marky Fraser, which was I Believe in a Higher Power in Gems of War, DLC Pack 25. So just a few trophies in that one. and that was for reach Kingdom level 15 in 5 kingdoms. The top 5 rarest trophies of 2023. So this is going to be obviously very similar. There is one change though. The Hidden Agenda trophy 4th degree drops out and is replaced at number 1 spot by Yield, who is for his trophy Pro Team in Deep Rock Galactic, which was to earn silver promotions for all dwarves, and that carries a 1.15% rarity value. So that is the trophy to beat if you want the rarest of 2023. The next one to be knocked out is Legend of Weird West at 9.76%, which is Alex. That is pretty much it for week 2. Obviously, this may well be a regular feature. I may well be on the show at times as well, and we'll do a live sort of discussion, bring people on if you know that's an option. But I hope you all enjoy the contest, and yeah, until next time, take care and keep earning those trophies. Cheers.
All right,
Thank you,
Gareth.
Gareth, and well done, sir, on being number 1.
Great job.
Yes. All right. So before we get into what we're playing, some comments from the chat. Legacy, this is for Darrell. Here in the Bronx, there's a guy that sells junk on the street. Your normal struggle, just hustle, just trying to make a few bucks. No lie, though, this guy gets his hand on some old, complete in-box games from time to time. I can't catch him all the time due to my work hours, but I try to see if he's there as often as I can. So maybe you want to hook up with Latin Legacy, see if he can hook you up with some stuff there, Darrell.
Hey man, I'm all about some PSP and PS Vita stuff, dude. Like that's I've got a couple guys like that too. And like they don't necessarily care about what they have, it's just selling it quick. And I've learned some of their hideouts. See, now that I work from home, I'm escaping throughout the week and I'm learning, oh, these are where they're getting stuff. And one of the things I just did, I just filmed a video at the Goodwill bin store where they bring in these giant pallet loads of stuff and they just dump them 3 times a week in this building, in these bins. And when that door opens up at 10 o'clock on Wednesday and 10 o'clock on Friday, it's fight night. These people are just destroying, diving into them and throwing stuff.
So it's like Black Friday.
It's wilder because it's trash. Black Friday was, but I went in this past Wednesday, right? And they have this giant pallet of DVDs, Blu-rays, video games, and dudes are bringing, like, digging, right? Like you get these trash bags at the door, and you throw stuff in there and they weigh it on a scale and you pay by the pound. So some days it's $1, some days it's $1.89. Depends on the day, depends on the weight. And no joke, these freaking dudes, this one dude pulled out like 7 or 8 PSP games, some PSP movies, all kinds of stuff. Like it was freaking wild. I'm like, man, I was there 15 minutes behind him. Like I got there 10:15 and he already stole all kinds. Stole, but you know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
All right.
I will say, Darrell, that where we were today, where I found that copy of Heavenly Sword, they did have a bunch of PSP games. I didn't see any Vita games, but I did see some PSP games. So if you are on the lookout for something, you can, let me know and I'll see if I can find it at this place.
I need to put together a list really of what I'm actually looking for, because I know what I have and I use the Game Eye app. So like when I'm out and about, I'm just like, scan it. Do I have it? No. But I need to put together an actual like list of here's what I'm hunting for. So.
All right. Yeah, the reason there's no Vita games is because me and Dell had to get all of them on Vita Island.
We're hoarding them.
I will say, I don't know if Darrell's noticed this, but one of the when you're out, usually you can find a ton of Xbox 360 games, you can find a ton of PS2 games, you can find quite a bit of, just really PlayStation 3 games, stuff like that, PS4 games. But like the GameCube is one of those consoles. I go in and I see maybe like, and this is a place that has like Sega CD games, so they get their hands on some rare stuff. But you go in and like GameCube games, like you see maybe 8 on the shelf. Like nobody is like reselling GameCube games. It seems like at the very least at the shops that I'm going into.
Yeah, there's a few guys around here that sell them, but there's also a couple guys here that like freaking hoard them junks. So yeah, that's definitely not something I will say this. I know, Tricky. I know we got to go. You're doing a great job as the host, remind us. But I just picked up a sealed copy of Donkey Konga 2 and sold it.
All right. As much as we love the stories, we are like literally 40 minutes into the show. We haven't even got to what we're playing yet. Alex, start us off. What have you been playing, sir?
So I got the Platinum Trophy, as Gareth said, in Weird West. Really good game. Trophy list, because there are 28 missable trophies in the game or thereabouts. It is one of those games that you do want to play with a guide, which is very annoying, which is something I really didn't like. But the game itself is very fun. You know, you can do stealth. You can go in guns blazing. Like there's different ways to attack each situation. You know, set in the supernatural West. Like it's a cool concept and it's executed really well. So Wolfeye did a great job on their first game, their introductory project. I will say, though, you know, I don't really like when trophies are tied to moral decisions because in one of the chapters you play as a protector, which basically a First Nations indigenous person, and you are trying to stop the spread of the Wendigo throughout the West. And there are two separate paths you can take with this person. By the end of the trophy, you can give in to greed, or by the end of the chapter, you can give in to greed and turn into a Wendigo, which there's a trophy for that. But then also, if you do that, your character dies essentially because the people of your tribe hunt you. So one of the other trophies in the game is by the end of the game, you have to have all 5 characters from each chapter to come together at a temple and be there together. So turning your character into Wendigo negates that trophy. So you kind of have to play that chapter twice. And I don't know, to become a Wendigo, you have to do greedy actions like, you know, people ask you for their land deeds back because someone's stolen them, but then you steal them and then you can extort people for money for those deeds. And then sell them to the bank later. So I don't really like when, like I said, where morality is tied to a trophy. I kind of wish that was like left out of it because the game I'm currently playing now, Biomutant, there are moral choices in that, but they don't affect the trophies. So I just kind of wish Weird West had stayed away from tying trophies to certain actions, particularly, you know, choosing whether to be a good person or a bad person. But overall, a very good game. But like I said, Biomutant's the next game I've been playing. We got it free for PlayStation Plus, and I finally decided to check it out. Open world RPG. You get to design your own little animal to run around. Basically, humans destroyed the Earth, and by extension, by polluting themselves. So there are no humans around. It's just animals, mutated animals, and this world filled with nuclear waste and oil and all this. You know, just a terrible place to live. But it's a very bright, beautiful game in some spots. Other places, you know, like there's a dead zone. But, you know, there's some like forested areas. In some places, there's a tree of life that's dying that, you know, part of the adventure is saving that to try to save the world and defeat like large, giant monsters called the World Eaters. So I'm having fun with it. There's a lot of customization, crafting, you know, scavenging for parts to build weapons on the fly. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's a fun third-person combat game with like, you know, gunplay as well as, you know, just melee combat. So I'm enjoying it so far. So yeah, I don't know if any of you all had played Biomutant yet.
No, it is on my list though.
I started it when it came onto Plus, and I just got distracted real quick.
See, because that's one of the things is I was looking at now when I'm trying to play games because I was trying to decide what to play next after Weird West, and I was actually going on to PSN profiles and looking at the rarity list of all these trophies. So, you know, Yield had just gotten a platinum trophy in A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is like a 15-hour platinum, one playthrough, chapter select, pretty easy to get. But I looked at all the trophies and they're like all common trophies, so it's like being a part of this competition is making me think that, you know, of course, you know, you still want to beat the games, you still want to get platinum trophies for the backlog beatdown. But when I looked at something like Biomutant, pretty much all the trophies on PSN profiles are rare trophies. And I thought, like, oh, wait a minute, this is for PlayStation Plus, so wouldn't you figure that these would be more common since people don't have to buy the game? But then I'm also thinking, because people aren't investing their money in the game, they're just trying it. Maybe people are just starting it, and then after, you know, they get distracted like Matt and they stop playing. So you have a bunch of people who, quote unquote, own the game, but yet they don't get very far in it. So that leaves the trophy list kind of like super rare.
All your Plus games are going to be where you get your rarity points, in my opinion.
You think so?
For that reason right there.
Yeah. So I was surprised. So all the trophies on that list are rare. And of course, now that I've said that, anyone in the trophy competitions be like, oh, yo, Biomutant's looking extra sexy this week.
Well, definitely don't tell Darrell that, because Darrell's whole plan is to wait until people get rare trophies. Then he's going to go play those games just to knock down the rarity.
Well, he's only going to do that to you, Tricky.
Yeah, I'm only sniping Tricky.
Bad G, what are you playing, sir?
I spent most of the week last week in bed with 102 fever, so I didn't get to play a whole heck of a lot. But what I did squeak out was I finished my run through of Pokemon Scarlet, completed all of the 3 main storylines, and saw credits on that. So I'm now just going back through, seeing what Pokemon I can collect and doing some post-game cleanup. After watching a speed run of Super Mario Galaxy 2 this week from Awesome Games Done Quick, I decided to go back and play Mario Galaxy 1, since that's what I have from the Super Mario 3D collection. And again, that's just such a fantastic Mario game. I can't believe they made it available again. I just wish they did the same thing for 2. Then I also have been playing Elden Ring with a bunch of friends. They had released this, it's called the Seamless Co-op mod, where you throw a file into your Elden Ring files on the PC, and now you can play Elden Ring with your friends from start to finish without having to do all the silly summoning and desummoning after bosses. And it's just so much more fun just being able to go wherever we want. It does come with some glitches and crashes, but it's you can just rejoin and continue on your way. And finally, I got myself back into MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. It's been a hot minute since I played that game, and I got stuck on a mission when I quit it about 2 years ago. But I started a fresh save and going through all the motions, and I'm taking my time with it. I used to be really big into MechWarrior back in the days, so after reading some things that they did with the DLCs, I'm happy with the direction the game was taking, and I decided to give it another go. And that's all I've really been doing this week.
Yeah, for somebody that's been in bed with 101 fever all week, you played a lot of games.
Yeah, well,
What else do you have to do when you're sick?
No, he started off by saying I didn't play much because I was in bed with 101 fever. I think he listed off like 6 things.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing was, thank God, out of all weeks that I got sick, it was when Awesome Games Done Quick came on, so I could just sit and stare at the screen for most of the week. But once I started feeling better, I needed to get some game time back on, so I clocked in some good hours.
Yeah. All right, just update. Giants have won. Rangers have lost.
Well, and Darrell, I know that your wife had been sick recently. Hopefully, she's feeling better.
She's good.
All right.
She's much better. Thank you.
All right, so Darrell, what have you been playing, sir?
Playing a little Dead Space 2 on the PS3. I've never beaten Dead Space 2 on PS3. So I was like, you know what? I'll get some trophies. I'll play that. I've been playing a little bit of Gotham Knights, chipping away at that one. Freaking love that game.
I'm waiting for you to get to the end.
Yeah, I'm savoring it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely don't play it when anybody's around. I don't play it when there's background noise. Like, it's just me and Gotham Knights. And
who's your main?
What?
Who's your main?
I think Batgirl's probably my main. I've been switching through because you told me to make sure I did all the little challenges and the knighthood stuff for everybody.
Yeah.
And I started off, it was Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin.
Okay.
In that order. Batgirl is still technically my main, but I've gotten where I really like Red Hood a lot. Like, I started playing it like it was a shooter. Like, I did the whole Clayface section, and I was just bagging up and just shooting. That boss fight was amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, the bosses are so well done. The story's so well done in this game. Like,
the story I thought was lacked a little bit, honestly.
So maybe the connective tissue and the general, like, moment to moment, but the way I'm playing is I'm playing it like I do all of the side stuff every night, and then I go do like whatever the main objective is, and then it's like, oh, you have the files and you have the information to go do this boss thing. So then I only did the Clayface stuff, and now I'm only doing the Mr. Freeze stuff, and before that I only did the Harley Quinn stuff. So for me, the order in which I'm playing it is very good. It's very well done. I thought that all the Harley stuff was really good. I thought all the Clayface's stuff was awesome. And then now I'm really digging the Mr. Freeze stuff. So I think it's great. But the way I'm playing is also very specific. I don't know if it's right or not. I don't care. Like, it's letting me play however I want, and I'm really enjoying it. So for the Loot Bros podcast, we're doing a game club on Mass Effect. So I started Mass Effect 1 from the Anniversary Collection, or Legendary Edition, whatever it's called. Played a little bit of that game. And then I did probably the first half hour to an hour of the Quarry. That one's pretty good. I'm actually doing that in watch mode. So I don't know if you guys know much about the Quarry, but you can play through it, and it's like Until Dawn, essentially, same company. And this one's more of a teen slasher. Takes place at the Quarry, actually, at this camp. But it gives you the option to play the game with people, or watch the game. And if you go into watch mode,
that's Alex's favorite
like,
thing is to watch games.
Say what?
That's Alex's favorite activity is to watch games and get trophies.
Hey, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? But like, I was like, I was down in my weight room, and I was getting ready to work out, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can get on the treadmill and just play through the Quarry. But then I was like, oh, I forgot I had a watch mode, so I just turned it on watch mode. And as I'm sitting there doing my routine, I've got a TV mounted in my weight room. And I'm watching this thing. I'm like, this is dope. This is cool. So playing through the Quarry now. And then my most recent platinums, I said earlier, were Pinball Heroes. Those are PSP games ported to PlayStation Premium with trophy support. Definitely recommend them, Tricky, especially for you. 1 hour-ish platinums. They're PSP games.
Yeah, I used to play the pinball games. I never really got into them, though.
These are good for trophies. It feels good.
Okay.
As soon as you start every single pinball, it gives you a trophy for just playing that on that pinball machine. The trophies aren't hard to do. You get a high score, but it's got a rewind mode. So if you start losing all your balls, you can just rewind it.
I hate it when I lose my balls.
I know. I love that I can rewind and get my balls back. And so, but I got the platinum on the PS4 and the PS5 version.
This is two jokes that Alex Novi would have jumped in on. He's quiet. What's going on with you, Alex?
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. Low-hanging fruit, man. Which, at this point, with how old you are, your balls might be low-hanging.
I was about to say how old we are. Our balls are low-hanging fruit. All right, and the only thing I've been playing all week is God of War on the PS4 and the Division 2. Oh, and I played the 5 spam games. But, okay, I want to defend myself from the spam games real quick, because the 5 I got this week. Because I said I was going to take a break. I was annoyed that they kept popping up on my PS5 main screen, so I just cleared them out. So the only thing on my main screen now is just legit games. I had to get them off my system.
Those dang spam games just popping up out of nowhere. Like, who invited you?
Tricky, the only thing you need to defend yourself on are those sorry-ass chicken wing pictures that you're putting out, trying to think that they're somehow seasoned.
No, oh my God! I'm not going down that path. We're going on to our first topic here. Our first topic is coming from IGN and is written by Logan Plant. I don't know how much we're going to talk about this, but I thought this was pretty shitty, and I wanted to talk about it real quick. Striking Distance Studios is under fire for reportedly leaving developers out of the Callisto Protocol's credits. Now, IGN's own report and collaborates accounts that the key names were left out of the game's credits, and IGN has heard issues with credit on games directed by Glenn Schofield date further back than just the Callisto Protocol. In a report from GameIndustry.biz earlier this week, sources told the publication that an estimated 20 developers were omitted from the credits. IGN spoke to 2 of the employees from Striking Distance Studios, both of whom worked at the company during the development, and confirmed the details of the report. One of the employees we spoke to was included in the credits despite working on the company less than a year of development time. However, they told IGN that some key folks weren't added to the credits. Quote, I can tell you 2 people weren't added to the credits. One of them, I have a feeling it was because of the drama within the department itself, and that's why they weren't added. But the other one, I'm shocked because they worked on some key elements and had started coming up with design features that are in the game today, but they aren't in the credits at all. Now, the article does go on, but I was just thinking this has got to be really shitty to work on a game and then be left out of the credits because, or whatever reason. Matt, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts on this? Or is this just crybabies whining?
No, it's definitely not crybabies whining, because if you worked on a game, as a consumer, I'm not sitting down watching the credits, but that is effectively your resume. That is your proof that you did something in an industry that's highly competitive. And even though I know some people were lukewarm to Callisto Protocol, it's still a high quality game. And to have your name omitted, if you're going to go to another company and go, yeah, I worked on Callisto Protocol, and somehow it gets to be that your name isn't found in the credits, then that puts into question that company's hiring of you or your consideration. I don't know what it takes to be put in the credits. I don't know how much participation you have to have in the game. Did you just do some proofreading, or did you actually work on parts of the game for programming or implementation or development? It's not crybaby when you don't get credit for the work that you put in that could potentially affect your future employment. So, again, I don't know to what level or how bad the allegations are from a did it really happen or not aspect. I don't know. I'm not a legalese expert. But if these people indeed worked on the game and they were not included in the credits in some way, shape, or form, I think they have a real gripe.
Alex?
Yeah, same. I mean, if someone does any work on we've seen how long video game credits can be. I mean, they can last forever. Sometimes 20 to 30 minutes, honestly. It feels like an eternity. So anyone who works or contributes to that project ought to be mentioned in those credits somewhere. I mean, if Sony bigwigs, they're mentioned in there just for being, even if they didn't contribute directly to the product, they just get mentioned because they're, some of the higher up employees at the company. So yeah, if you contribute to a project, there's no reason not to include you. So if I was part of a team and I didn't see my name, I'd be pissed. Yeah.
Darrell?
Yeah, as somebody who just got their first credit in a video game, as a matter of fact, like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I would be, I'd be, offended, because for me, that's important. Like, I'm trying to get into the industry, and so I need that. And just like Matt was saying, essentially that's your resume. So,
Yeah, and just to be clear, when I asked if it was a crybaby, I was just trying to offer both sides.
Yeah.
Because I think it's shitty. I think it's shitty as well.
Just crybabies.
Yeah, well, I think it's shitty too that their names weren't put on there. I mean, I've been a part of 2 games where I play tested, and I saw a bunch of Q&A developer or Q&A testers, and my name wasn't put in. I felt shitty when that happened, but I didn't really make a big deal of it. Dell, we can't see that because it's all fuzzy.
I'm trying. You keep talking.
I'm talking, still fuzzy.
All right.
It's still fuzzy.
All right. Well, I was trying to send you my credits, but
I always saw myself more clearly than the credits.
Yeah, I think it's shitty, and this should not be happening. All right, moving on to our next story. Alex, I put this in for you. I didn't read the article, so we're gonna read it together. This is coming from PC Gamer and is written by Tyler Wilde. The name of the article is "People Are Now Using AI to Cheat in Rocket League." Trying to find part of this article to read. The creator of RLGym, an API which facilitates the training of Rocket League bots like the one in the clip, knew their project to be used to cheat, but that wasn't their intention. There's actually a cool, non-cheaty Rocket League bot development scene centered around another API called RLBot, which enables the creation of custom bots for offline play to play each other. Basically, I'm just going to go on. They're creating bots that will play with you and will, play up to grand champion level. I don't know if you've seen any of this happening inside of Rocket League, Alex, or if you would have even noticed.
I don't think I would even notice, but I mean, that sucks to think you're going up against, somebody, just anybody, randomly matched. It's supposed to be matched to your skill level and your competency, and then all of a sudden you're playing against bots who are like ridiculously good.
Yeah, I as I was reading, I was like, how would you even tell? I mean, because there are some people out there that do a whole bunch of flippy floppy stuff. I mean, even the post I put on TikTok, everybody's like, "Oh, why would you do that? There was no flip. There was no spaz." Like, it's still a goal. I don't know. All right,
he didn't come off the ceiling, do a double, triple axel, and hit the ball into the wall, and then save it, and then score it from the other side of from downtown. Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next article from pushsquare.com. This is written by Stephen Talby. Tailby. It's Tailby. I think it's Tailby. Sorry, my phone keeps going off for some reason. We talked recently about how PlayStation Plus subscriptions were down. Coming from this article, it says PlayStation Plus subscriptions are up 40% off of part of the PlayStation Store's huge January sale. Sony has placed thousands of games and DLC on offer with Epic Games Store's January sale, but it's not stopped there. A freshly added promotion now brings prices crashing down on PlayStation Plus subscriptions. If you're not currently a member at all, you can purchase a 3 to 12 month subscription for PlayStation Extra or Premium with a savings of up to 40%. A year of PlayStation Plus Premium normally is around $120 American, but if you take advantage of this deal, you'll get it for $80, and that's not bad at all. The above deal is only available to new subscribers. However, if you are already a PlayStation Plus Essential member, Sony got something for you. You can upgrade your Essential subscription to Extra or Premium, and you'll save 30% of the cost. Of course, you could always save more by going to CD Keys, which is where I buy them, and you could upgrade that way. This is pretty good. Try to get people back into PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, discounts are always a good way to get people to buy in. So, especially if you haven't tried Premium yet, you're on the fence.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get you and Yield your PlayStation stuff. I was going to buy it for PlayStation Direct, but for some reason it would not take my credit card.
Uh-oh. You spent too much, Tricky Mick. You're over your limit.
He's that guy buying all the spam games.
What if anyone's ever maxed out their credit card on crappy PlayStation games?
PlayStation Plus game catalog has come up. This is for Premium and Extra. Hopefully we'll get Alex to try some of these games. Some games coming to the service. Back for Blood for the PS4 and PS5, which ironically is the name of the backlog beatdown this year.
That's right. It's a good name.
Dragon Ball Fighters. Have we ever said if it was Dragon Ball Fighters Z or Dragon Ball Fighters? Did we ever get confirmation? Matt G's
I'm going to go with Fighters.
Matt G's looking confused right now.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I could have sworn it was done deal as Dragon Ball Fighter Z because that's what I've heard every other podcast refer to it as.
All right. Either way, that game for the PS4 is available. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Life is Strange Before the Storm. Life is Strange for the PS4. Jet: The Far Shore for the PS4 and PS5. I heard that's pretty good. I haven't tried it yet.
It made a bunch of podcasts top 10 games when it came out.
Just Cause 4 Reloaded. Omno, OMNO for the PS4. Erica for the PS4, which I also heard was a pretty good game. Darrell, I think you actually played that, didn't you?
I have it. I don't know that I played it, but it's supposed to be another one of those multi-choice scenario, choice-based games.
Yeah, it says your decisions shape the narrative.
Yep.
Become Erica, a young lady plagued with nightmares of her father's murder. Okay, and for PlayStation Premium, the classics, you're going to get Siphon Filter 3, Star Wars Demolition, Hot Shots Golf 2.
Yeah.
So another good month for Premium and Extra. All right. We're moving on here.
Oh, hold on, Tricky. I did want to go over. I found this. If you all wanted to discuss the top 10 best-selling games of last year.
I was going to do that, but I was going to save that for next week because we already had a bunch of topics, and I think this topic that we're about to go into and our two topics of the week are going to take a bunch of time. But I did see that, but I was going to save that for next week. Unless you.
Well, I mean, I can just read the 10, and if anyone wants to comment on them, we can. But
we could do that too. Okay, the floor is yours.
All right, this comes from GameSpot.com. The 10 best-selling games of 2022, specifically in the United States market. Number 1 was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Hold on. Who's the article by?
It's just on. I don't know. It's just from Instagram, so it just has a picture.
Oh, okay.
And it comes based on information from the MPD group. Yeah, GameSpot. Sorry, I don't have the author.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 comes in at number 1. No shock there. Followed by Elden Ring, Madden NFL 23, God of War Ragnarok, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which just came out in November, as did God of War Ragnarok. FIFA 23, Pokemon Legends Arceus, 2 Pokemon games in the top 10. Horizon Forbidden West is number 9, and then MLB The Show 2022, Sony San Diego developed MLB The Show 2022 in there. So yeah, that was the top 10. Any surprises there?
No,
None.
I think though what you had said and attribute it to Modern Warfare as well is that these games came out at the tail end of the year and just still rocketed up the top of the list.
And I was happy to see Horizon Forbidden West in the top 10 because I think that the fear with that game is it was going to get lost in the month of February, particularly with Elden Ring, and maybe people wouldn't come back to it. But it seems like it's sold well enough, even though Sony has not yet released official sales figures for it. So
I mean, it was a better game than Elden Ring, so, you know.
can confirm.
You can. Wait, I'm sorry. You said you can or
Let's
can't
move on
confirm.
before I have to school you again, Trey.
You know what, Darrell, I'm going to take a piece of your show because we just did an episode of Loop Brothers. One of my goals this year is I'm going to play Elden Ring.
My man.
Okay, I thought about that after the show, so that's a throwback to the Loop Brothers. He asked me for goals, and I said I really don't set goals. One of my goals is to play Elden Ring. I'm not saying I'm going to beat it. I'm not saying I'm going to play it more than an hour, but I'm going to try to put an effort into playing Elden Ring. All right. Going back to article. All right. So this is coming from IGN. It's written by Rebecca Valentine. Can we get the sad violin? Can anybody do a sad violin with their mouth real quick? Ubisoft has announced that
I can just make fun noises. Sorry.
Ubisoft has announced that it has, for the 6th time, delayed Skull and Bones, as well as canceled 3 more unannounced games amid major challenges in the industry. The underperformance of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Just Dance 2023 are and an upcoming, quote, restructuring. In a press release, Ubisoft outlined a new strategy for the remainder of its fiscal year, as well as lowered expectations for the last fiscal quarter. Ubisoft explains that the move is as a result of the company, quote, facing major challenges as the industry continues to shift towards mega brands and long-lasting titles and can reach players across the globe and across platforms and business models, end quote. While Ubisoft notes that its goal has been to build large, overarching global brands to release games that, quote, games from this investment phase have not yet to be released, while our recent launches have not performed as well as expected, end quote. The press release later calls out Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope as underperforming in the final weeks of 2022. And early January, despite an ambitious marketing plan, Just Dance 2023 underperformed as well. And in response to these issues, Ubisoft is delaying Skull and Bones for the 6th time and is also canceling 3 unannounced projects on top of the 4 it had already canceled last year. For Skull and Bones, directly, the new target looks to be early 2023-24. Assuming this means the fiscal year, the soonest we'll see Skull and Bones now will be April of 2023, and maybe as late as December. All right, I'm going to stop there, because this game has been in development for 15 years. Inner Chat has been calling this the new Duke Nukem Forever. And this particularly sucks because this game was supposed to come out in 2 months. Now we're talking you have at least a year of a delay. Alex, we're going to start.
That means it's not good.
Alex, we'll start the floor with you, sir.
Well, I don't understand. Ubisoft is sitting here talking about mega brands and brands for the long term. Isn't that all that Ubisoft has is brands for the long term? Hasn't Just Dance been around forever? Assassin's Creed, you've got the Rabbids games; those have been around forever. Like, what of Ubisoft's is a brand new game? Like, it's all been around for a long time, which is why their portfolio is boring as hell at this point, and nobody cares. I shouldn't say nobody, but in general, like, yeah, people like Assassin's Creed, but what about what they're doing is exciting at this point?
I think the game, I'm not going to be an Ubi apologist, but I think the games that they are coming out with are good games. I think they just put too much stock into trying to make them superior games. Does that make sense to anybody?
I mean, it'd be a crying shame for them to, I don't know, maybe make a Splinter Cell game.
Well, that's one game. That's Splinter Cell remakes in the works. I was trying to find the list because they had a list of every game that was in development that they announced, and it was like 20 games that were in development right now. Matt, while I try to find that list, give your thoughts on this.
So part of the problem with Ubisoft is that they flood the market with their own games. It goes back to the Rock Band, Guitar Hero era where they just flooded the market with plastic peripherals. And Ubisoft just doesn't, it's like they don't have any confidence in their developers to branch out. It's, here are the games we make. If you don't want to make them, go do something else. Skull and Bones delayed 6 times. Beyond Good and Evil still in early development when they showed something 8 years ago at E3. It's getting ridiculous that they keep going back to the well and beating the horse that is Assassin's Creed. Rabid Sparks of Hope, from what I understood, received pretty dang good reviews. A lot of people were enjoying it. But if it underperformed in their sales, maybe they should adjust their expectations on what they should expect from sales on these repeat adventures that they keep forcing down people's throats.
Whenever, I'm sorry to cut you off, but whenever a company says this game undersold or didn't perform up to our standards, all I keep thinking about is Square Enix and Tomb Raider.
Yep.
Every single time somebody says, "Oh, this game didn't perform," it's like, then where are you setting your expectations at?
It sold 5 million copies. It underperformed.
Well, that's the ultimate succeed to fail. Back when I was in loss prevention and retail sales, every time we succeeded, they just moved the goalpost even further down the line. And at some point, you're not going to perform up to your budget or to your expectations. And they make it sound like it's the end of the world, when in reality, that's what business is about. It's moving the goalpost until you find the right fit for whatever you're working on. And yeah, okay, undersold, but they don't have to frame it that way. It said, hey, they had good sales. Could they be better? We could always want better sales. But you don't have to frame it as like, oh, well, it sucks. Because you know what? They're answering to their investors and they're answering to their stockholders. And it sucks because there's people out there who really enjoyed those games, but if they didn't sell as well as to budget or to expectations, then suddenly stockholders and investors are going to go, oh, well, you know, that shows weakness in your company. No, it shows the reality of the situation that maybe every game won't sell gangbusters, but they'll sell something, and they'll sell enough to, as long as you're making a little profit, shut up and move along to your next game.
All right. Well, speaking of the games, I found the list. This is coming from IGN. I don't know if this is written by Jordan Serrani. Okay, so I'm going to name the games that Ubisoft currently has in development. Oddballers, which comes out in a week. It's a multiplayer party game that, according to Ubisoft, plays like dodgeball turned up to 11. They also have the Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, which is a free-to-play shooter. That's we still have a release date for that. They also have non-game related. They have a Division movie being made by Netflix. We talked about Skull and Bones. They got Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is the series is taking it back to the stealth-focused roots back in the original Assassin's Creed games. You got Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which is a new game, but that's being made by Massive, who's also behind The Division. You got Assassin's Creed Infinity. I see you counting, Matt. This is going to be the all central Assassin's Creed hub that all games are going to link into. You got Assassin's Creed Codename Red, which is the next big open world RPG. You got Assassin's Creed Codename Hex, which is, I believe this is the one. Was this the mobile game? No, this is a horror-based take on Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
You got Assassin's Creed VR, Beyond Good and Evil 2, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake, which has been delayed, 3 times now? Project Q, which is a team battle arena that's early development. They say Project Q is not a battle royale, but rather a multiplayer game with various PvP modes. And that's it. You got Project U, which is a new concept of session-based a co-op shooter where players unite to prevail against an overwhelming threat. You got the Settlers. You got the Splinter Cell remake. Finally. You got the Star Wars game being made by Massive, also who's making the Avatar game, is also working on Heartland. X Defiant, which is a free-to-play shooter that's in development. It's a 6 versus 6 arena shooter. It was called Tom Clancy's X Defiant, although they dropped Tom Clancy from the title last year. And that's it. How many games is that, Matt?
If I count correctly, that's 17 games.
And there was still 3 that weren't announced that just got canceled, and 4 more that weren't announced that also got canceled.
So, but look at the list. More than 25% is Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 game in developmental hell that is Beyond Good and Evil. You have Skull and Bones, which I guess will come out this year. Before I would have been assured and said, yeah, okay, it's coming out this year. And now it's like, I don't know. A bunch of project-based named games, which is...
Basically, they don't have a name for it yet.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 years before you see anything about those games. They don't have anything to give their investors any sort of short-term comfort, I guess. Everything is just ifs, ends, or buts. And now if they're talking about canceling stuff, Ubisoft cancels 3 unannounced games. Okay, well, you didn't announce them, so
why do we even need to know this? Why are you even telling us that you canceled 3 games? Just don't release them.
Hey, I didn't go adopt 3 dogs.
I didn't know you were looking to adopt dogs.
Darrell, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that Ubisoft is spiraling, guys, and I think they're going to get gobbled up soon. If Microsoft doesn't buy them or Sony doesn't buy them, Tencent will. I think that Tencent's already made investments. I think that we keep hearing that, I think they just bought a portion of the Guillemot family's estate. So it's either Tencent or NetEase, but either way, the Chinese money is getting involved, and they're going to gobble them up, and they're floundering so hard. Like, they make Far Cry games, and their Far Cry games are good. They make their Division games, the Division games are good. They make this good Assassin's Creed games. It just seems like outside of that, everything else is just so poorly managed from the outside looking in. It just seems like they're not in a good place without the annual, machine stuff that they do. My suggestion would be, obviously, go back and put some Splinter Cell stuff out. The last 2 Splinter Cell games were amazing. Convictions was stellar, and then Blacklist was awesome. I think Convictions was better, but those were great games. You need more. They need to be putting Splinter Cell games out. They need to be putting out other Rainbow Six games. They don't have to just keep the PvP versions that they have. They tried to come out with that expansion that became its own game that seemed to just go nowhere, like a wet fart. But they really need a good Rainbow Six game, and I think they need to put out more smaller games. Just try new things. I don't know. I don't know why it's like. It seemed like they were really doing a good thing with Assassin's Creed. Like, they put one out, they let it breathe for a year or 2. Put another one out, let it breathe for a year or 2. Support it with DLC so you constantly have money coming in. And then they're like, from the outside looking in, it seems like, man, these are great. These are like some of the best, renowned Assassin's Creed games. Like, man, people really like this. They're received very well. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey guys, guess what? Assassin's Creed. You guys want more Assassin's Creed? Well, you got more Assassin's Creed. It's like, man.
Well, I want to note something. Out of the 17 games that I announced that were in development, we did not hear one Rainbow Six game, and we did not hear one Far Cry game. And to Matt's point a little bit a second ago, where they just canceled 3 unannounced games. All you're going to do by saying that you have 3 unannounced games that just got canceled is you're going to get people speculating. Did they just cancel the Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel? Is that what they're telling us? You don't say shit like that. Alex, you want any final thoughts before we move on to our topic?
I do want to make one correction because Matt was talking about the Guitar Hero games. That was Activision Not to say Ubisoft doesn't, flog stuff or flood the market, but the Guitar Hero stuff was Activision, and they were the ones guilty of flooding that. I think
hold on a second. Ubisoft did have Rocksmith though.
Okay, but we're talking about no one was guiltier than Activision of flooding the market with plastic peripherals, right?
Right.
And sorry to jump it. I wasn't saying Ubisoft was the one. I'm just saying that's what happens when you flood the market. Everybody gets tired of what you're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But also, you look at Ubisoft's projects, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of really good direction when it comes to game. Like Matt mentioned, Beyond Good and Evil. Matt mentioned, not Sea of Thieves, but Skull and Bones. These are projects that, and I've said before, it seems like Skull and Bones, they had a kernel of an idea, which was, hey, the ship part and the sailing part in Assassin's Creed 3 is a lot of fun. You saw that carried over into other games like Assassin's Creed Origins, but they're like, let's build that as the base of a game. And they, since then, haven't been able to figure out how to get it right or how to do it well enough. So the project management at Ubisoft really seems to be, let's be real, kind of bad. They need to look at how they allocate stuff for, talent for games, funds for games, but there's no excuse for stuff like Beyond Good and Evil 2, and not just one game. It's not like they just had The Last Guardian or they've got Duke Nukem. They've got Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I think by this point has passed people wanting to play, and Skull and Bones, which I think people's curiosity for is dying because they keep, delaying it. They got 2 games like that are in perpetual, developers' hell. So I don't really know what's going on with their forecasting and their project management, because it seems to be lacking, and it seems like they need to, change leadership there somewhat. I'm not saying at the president or CVO level, but certainly at these studios that are, on top of these games. If it's a funding issue, then yeah, the company needs to look at that. What kind of money is coming down from the top into these studios? But how do you have 2 games that are baking for almost 2 decades each, and you still have nothing? Well, not that you have nothing to show, but how is it not released yet? How is it not out? How much money have you spent, and are you even going to recoup that money on these projects you spent so many years developing?
All right, now I'm not going to say this as a defense to Ubi, but I just looked up how many Ubisoft sub companies there are, and in North America they have 13. In Europe they have 27. In Asia they have 9. So they have a lot of studios out there. So if each studio is tackling one game, I can understand that having that many games in development, but maybe you shouldn't have so many games in development is what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, it's just like any other family, right? So they've got their support studios, they've got their their art and asset studios, they've got their online multiplayer and maintenance studios. I mean, not everyone is creating a game from the ground up, but I would liken Ubisoft to Microsoft. If you look at it, Microsoft went and gobbled up all these studios, right? And they're like, oh man, we're going to put a game a month. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, this has been going on since 2017. They still ain't farted out any real games. Nothing out of the normal. Forza still comes out like it's supposed to. Halo came out with a really rough first year, but it's still 343. That's a homegrown studio, or at least as part of the home team anyways.
But still no co-op.
Well, I mean, they botched that. But the thing is Halo's not unexpected. You expect a Halo to come out because that's part of that's their flagship. So outside of that, it's like, what happened? What was Compulsion doing? They bought them up, 2017?
Sorry, they bought Ninja Theory, and how long have they been talking about Senua's Saga?
Yeah, I know.
We've been seeing that forever.
Do we even have a release date for that yet?
Release something. No.
We don't even have a release date for that yet.
No, we haven't seen anything other than the initial trailer and then an extended gameplay of a single area. But that is it.
That's insane. All right. We're going to move on here. We're going to go to our, which is, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted here. We're going to go into our listener questions. Say again, Darrell? Oh, maybe not.
That's okay. It's your first time.
Yes. No, I'm getting distracted because my phone's going off. I'm trying to do 5 things at once. But we can't do Have a Trophy Wars episode without hearing.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
Okay, so coming from the Facebook group, which is the Facebook group. Here we go. The Trophy Horse Facebook group, where you guys can go and leave us questions as we post every week, or if I remember to. Rick wants to know, and we're gonna go one at a time because he has 3 questions. Dogs or cats? Darrell?
Dogs, cats are of the devil.
Matt? Cannot
Dogs
say both.
first.
You cannot say both.
Dogs first, then dog and cat, because I have both.
You can't say
My
both.
black cat is not of the devil, Darrell.
Alex?
I just want to say it first. We have a dog and 2 cats. I love both. I love my dog and my 2 cats, but I hate dealing with litter. I hate cleaning up litter because every time I go in there and clean it, it's like the cats know it and they go in there and spread it around like confetti, just throw it in the air just to piss me off. So I prefer dogs to cats, but I definitely love all my animals.
Don't you have one of those cool auto shovelers?
No, because those things break. Like anything to do with cat litter, like what is it, like trackless cat litter or something like that, or dustless cat litter? So all the stuff, I don't believe it. I think it's all BS. and just marketing.
Yes.
It's definitely not trackless, but I've had my automatic scooper for over 2 years now, and the thing, I don't smell anything, which is the greatest.
Is that the one that's like $700-800?
No, not that one. Jesus Christ. No, this one was just like, I think a little less than 200, but it scoops it into the end under like a cover so that way it doesn't smell. And at the end of the month, you just throw away the entire tray and load up a new one.
All right. Dogs, because cats are fucking evil. Sorry.
Yeah, they are.
They're
I've got 2
absolutely
cats, and
evil.
They're the devil.
I love my cat that I found on the side of the highway, but she's fucking evil.
She's an a-hole.
And even the guys will tell you, like, we love her, but she's
Even the
See?
guy was
Oh,
like,
wait. Hold on a second. You guys didn't hear. She said, don't talk about my cat like that. Then she goes, she's a witch.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Next question from Rick. Lions or tigers? We'll start with Alex.
Bears.
You
Oh
can.
my.
It's one or the other. I hate you and Yield are worse at this.
Lions and tigers and bears. There's a trio there. You gotta. It's rock paper scissors. You gotta add the bear in there.
He didn't ask bears because he even said animals. The animals yields not sports teams.
Well, fine, then I'll say tigers because tigers are more majestic.
Matt.
Tigers, lions are the assholes of the animal kingdom.
And Darrell.
Lion, because he's the effing king of the jungle.
I'm going to go tigers as well. All right, last question from Rick in this question. Polar bears or penguins? We'll start with Matt.
Polar bears.
Darrell?
Penguins, because of Batman.
Alex?
I'm going to say penguins. Penguins, I love penguins. Everyone loves go to the zoo or to the aquarium and see penguins. Polar bears are mean. They're mean as shit. I mean, I respect a polar bear, but they will.
You have no choice but to respect a polar
They
bear.
will fuck you up. They're like hippos. They will fuck you up, and you have no choice but to take it. So yeah, penguins.
I'm going to go penguins
They
too.
get little tuxedos on. They're always ready for fun.
See, Alex just stole my reason. Penguins because they wear little tuxedos. All right, so some comments. Yield said dogs or cats. He said either, which is a cop-out answer. Lions or tigers. He said tigers. And polar bears or penguins. He said both, which is a cop-out answer.
That's a lot of cop-outs.
Yes. Then Darrell gets to say, man, I get to podcast with a great crew tonight. Yes, you do, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Alex and Matt.
And then Nitro has a question. It goes, Darrell, how does it feel not to have to rely on easy peasy games anymore since completing your rehab?
I feel great. I'm reformed. I mean, and it just so happened that My Name is Mayo 3 is a full game, multi-level, minimum of an hour playthrough.
Still spam.
Nope. That's high quality spam.
It's still, yeah, but it's still spam. You can put a pineapple on a spam. It's still spam at the end of the day.
I'll tell you what I'm not playing. The jumping taco, the pig B, the pig C.
Yeah, and yet.
Hey man, I'm changed. I'm telling you, I'm changed.
Yeah, come the end of the year when I'm up 500 platinums over him, you're gonna see Darrell just come back storming 1 week. He's like, I took a week off of work and I just sat here and held R1 the entire time.
There you go. I'm just waiting on that rainy day where I need it.
He also says, and how does it feel kicking Tricky's butt in last year's backlog beatdown, or were you not that surprised by the results?
Oh, I smashed you last. You didn't even play games. Because you couldn't spam. You just didn't even play anything.
I did. I played games.
I didn't really.
And I was thinking about this. I didn't even claim 3 games I beat.
That's what you say.
So, all right. So going back into our. All right, we're gonna go into a topic of the week. I'm gonna skip. I had 2 of them. I had the Dice Awards, which I'll save for next week because we're running a little long on time. But we have to go into Alex's favorite topic, and it's good to have.
We're talking about Microsoft's acquisition, are we?
Yes, we are.
Dude, you are getting more mileage out of this than anybody.
And it's good that we have Matt and Darrell on here because obviously we get some fresh opinions on this. Coming from IGN and written by Rebecca Valentine, NVIDIA and Google are reportedly voiced concerns over Xbox's Activision acquisition. That's a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
What did you call that first company?
NVIDIA.
Okay, thought I heard something else. Continue.
Okay.
No Vita.
The 2 companies reportedly contend that by acquiring Activision Blizzard, Microsoft would gain an unfair advantage in the cloud, subscription, and mobile gaming markets. One source told Bloomberg that NVIDIA at least is not expressly opposed to the acquisition, although it did stress the importance of equal access to game titles. The report does not elaborate on either company's other concerns. Microsoft is currently a strong contender in cloud gaming alongside NVIDIA with GeForce Now, and Google Stadia's program have folded last year. In mobile gaming, though, Microsoft has markedly little presence. In fact, Xbox head Phil Spencer previously pointed to Activision Blizzard's Mobile King division as the keystone of the intended acquisition, and filings connected to the deal have revealed that Microsoft wants to use King to create a, quote, Xbox mobile platform, end quote. NVIDIA and Google joined Sony as major companies bringing issues forward to governing bodies about the acquisition. Though based on the tone, the latter 2 are coming in notably softer on the issue. Late last year, there's a typo in the article, the FTC announced it would sue to block Microsoft's attempted acquisition due to concerns that the deal would harm competition from rival console makers through exclusivity. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority has also raised similar concerns. Over the last several months, Microsoft has repeatedly attempted to counter such concerns, including offering a deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for as long as 10 years, and a similar promise to bring the series to Nintendo consoles. While it's unclear exactly how involved NVIDIA or Google will continue to be, both companies could potentially be called to testify before the FTC when the lawsuit goes to trial, which Bloomberg notes is planned for August of this year. Now, I just read that entire article. Please go give it a click. So, Alex, we've spoken on this many, many times. I'm going to let you go to the floor, and then I'm going to open the floor to Darrell and Matt for their thoughts.
Man, I wonder, since our good friend Jeff Hanna works for NVIDIA, I wonder how he feels about this, since he loves Microsoft and Game Pass and all that.
And I'm also pretty sure that he's not legally allowed to talk about this.
No, well, I'm not saying anything. We know he works for NVIDIA. He told us that, so
right.
I'm not saying
the
anything
inside scoop. I'm telling everybody.
But yeah, no, I mean, we haven't heard anything. I should say we haven't heard anything from Jeff about this, nor have we asked him. So, but yeah, I mean, it just seems like more and more people. There's more people skeptical about this deal than I thought there would be, because obviously Sony is, which the article even mentioned. Sony's going harder at this than NVIDIA or Google. But it's interesting to see that there are more companies that are worried about this deal than I thought originally would be. So, I mean, in all honesty, Microsoft is having a more uphill battle than I thought they would. And I don't, honestly, at this point now, I don't even know how this ends, or where it ends, and how long in the future it ends. It just seems like there's constantly more opposition to this, and I expect this to go through by now. So I'm assuming that we're going to keep talking about this until the next 4 or 5 years when it actually goes through.
All right, now
sounds like you got a minimum of August.
Before I could throw it to Darrell and Matt, not to sound like a Sony apologist, but now that NVIDIA and Google have stepped up, does this give more credibility to Sony going against this, Alex?
I mean, I think that, the FTC looking so hard into this and Microsoft kind of backing down, calling it unconstitutional, and having other companies obviously raise concerns like, yeah, that helps you. But again, there's a differentiation between what Google and NVIDIA's interests are and then what Sony's interests are. So, I mean, I think that people are always going to look at, Sony, especially, if you own an Xbox or you're a fan of Microsoft, like you're going to look at it and say, while these other companies may have concerns, Sony's really the one actively trying to block this. So while this may give more credence to Sony's arguments, I think it's not. I mean, Sony by no means is the good guy in all this. I think that they still kind of look like a villain in all this, especially in the eyes of gamers. Most people don't seem to care whether this goes one way or the other. I think that most people are like, well, if it goes through, whatever, no one cares. It's really Sony that's kind of, kicking up the most dust. So maybe it helps Sony's argument, but certainly not in like the PR department.
All right, I'm going to open the floor to Darrell and Matt. Whichever one of you guys wants to take the floor first. I'm sure you talked about this on your show, Darrell, many times. Darrell is giving it to you, Matt. Matt, start us off. What do you think about, just in general, the whole thing, and then particularly now that NVIDIA and Google are getting involved?
So I was of the mindset that I'm not against the deal. I've always said that Microsoft needs to do what they need to do to really do something with their gaming division. And if it's buying up some of the biggest developers out there so that way they can start to release some exclusives on their platform, then that's what they need to do. Now, is it a concern in general that they're trying to buy Activision Blizzard? Yeah, because we know how big Call of Duty is. We just went over it earlier that it's one of the top selling games of the year, despite coming out in the last quarter. And Microsoft is doing everything they can to try to assuage the fears of their fellow gaming companies and say, no, you're still going to have Call of Duty, because that's the name that comes up. Nobody's talking about World of Warcraft or Diablo 2 or Overwatch or StarCraft or all the other Activision games. I'm kind of interested in the fact that NVIDIA and Google are talking about King and the mobile market that's going to bring in. What kind of irks me is NVIDIA and everybody saying how it's going to give them, Microsoft, an unfair advantage in the cloud market. They do say Microsoft would gain an unfair advantage in the cloud, subscription, and mobile gaming markets. The mobile gaming market's the mobile gaming market. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about what's King's big game?
Candy Crush.
Thank you. Again, a game I've never played, but people still play it. I'm sure it still makes bazillions of dollars for them, but like, what unfair advantage is that going to give them in the gaming market? Anybody can still go download a Candy Crush on their Android or Apple phones. Is it going to be the tech? Is it going to be the money they get from that? Then yeah, of course these companies are going to be concerned, but I don't know how Microsoft making more money from King's games is of NVIDIA's concern. As far as the cloud goes, hey, NVIDIA, freaking improve your cloud gaming structure, and maybe then we'll talk. When I bought my graphics card and I got a free year of GeForce Play, which allows you to play all of your Steam-owned games on the cloud, that was great. But as Tricky, you and I talked earlier tonight, I don't make my gaming profiles public. And that was a prerequisite of the GeForce Plays, is I had to make my Steam profile public, which means I lost out on a year of GeForce Play. So how about you make it easier for the consumer to use your cloud structure? Because then I might actually be interested in using your service. If it's one thing Microsoft did, is they made their xCloud gaming service easy. I hook a controller up to my phone and I'm off playing in less than 30 seconds. So they're concerned about Microsoft having an unfair advantage. Microsoft is already the king of cloud gaming. How about everybody else improve their tech around cloud gaming? And then the subscription-based model, they came out with it first. They've been doing gangbusters with it. We've only seen recently Sony's trying to improve their stance around their subscription-based model. So they already have the advantage. I don't know what unfair advantage NVIDIA and Google are talking about. I mean, Google, Stadia, good job there. Yeah, shutting down in what, 3 days? Yeah, good job there, Google. Maybe, again, improve your own tech and things around that. That argument about giving Microsoft the unfair advantage in cloud and subscription and mobile, it just doesn't make sense to me from a logical standpoint. If there's anything I said that you guys disagree with, please tell me.
I totally agree with you. The only thing I would rebuttal at all is that PlayStation had PlayStation Now before anyone had their subscription stuff.
And granted, they bought Gaikai to do that.
Right. And that was in 2013, but it was just a different world back then. But I do agree. And I look at it like this, and they knew. I mean, there's much smarter people at Microsoft than are on this panel right here, or at least smarter than me. So they knew taking the biggest properties, the biggest IP out there was going to stir up a hornet's nest. I mean, if you look at it, Call of Duty, best-selling game every year. Like you said earlier, came out at the end of October, early November. #1 selling game of 2022. It just is what it is. It's going to do that again this year. Candy Crush, the biggest money-making mobile game out there. World of Warcraft, the longest running subscription service, MMORPG or whatever they are. I mean, those are the biggest properties out there. So they knew this was coming. The big thing is all the other people, the smaller companies, they got to throw their dog in the fight. I mean, they got to say, hey, this is going to give them an unfair advantage because, yeah, sure, my NVIDIA gameplay kind of sucks. But if Microsoft buys all the big properties and they said this is all available on our streaming service, well, then no one's ever going to spend money with me, And especially if they ever flip the switch and say, no, it's ours. You got to come to us. They say they're not going to do that, but they said that with Bethesda originally too. And then Starfield, they're like, oh no, Starfield's exclusive. But if you go back and you rewind the tape, they said, no, we're not going to make these games exclusive.
Right.
But the thing is, and that's not just an Xbox thing. Microsoft's done that with other businesses and other things as well. Like you got to go to Microsoft to get that stuff. And rightfully so, they foot the bill for it. So to back up a step, I'm for the acquisition. And I don't know that I've ever said that on any show, actually. I'm for it because this is going to force the competition to fight hard. And I believe that Sony has been in the winning seat for so long, they're getting lazy. My kids ask me all the time, they're like, Daddy, what's your favorite gaming console? They've really only known the PS4 and the PS5. Like my kids have never been Xbox people. They do a little bit of mobile stuff, but they've had access to everything. They play Nintendo the least, Xbox then. They probably actually switched now. It's probably Xbox the least, Nintendo then, because of Animal Crossing. But I say all that to say this: like they're PlayStation kids. They were raised in a PlayStation home. They have access to everything. They've played it all, but this is what we like. And I always tell them, I said, the PS3, PSP, PS Vita, that's my favorite era of PlayStation. PlayStation was hungry back then. PlayStation was getting their butt kicked by Xbox 360, and they were fighting. They were putting out weird stuff. They were putting out wild games. They were just throwing things out there. It's like, yeah, green light that, green light that, green light that. I mean, we got Heavy Rain during that. We got Metal Gear Solid 4 during that. We got The Last of Us. We got Uncharted. We got Puppeteer. We got Journey. Everybody talks about Journey. I freaking hated that game, but whatever. It's different. Like we got Tearaway, and of course that was going into the PS4 generation. We got that on the Vita. We got like top, Resistance, Killzone, all that stuff on PSP and PS Vita. Like they were putting their eggs in all these baskets, and it was good, man. We were eating so well. But then once they started winning, they started to narrow that focus, and they're like, well, this makes a lot of money. These made some money, and these got us in front of a lot of people. But the bean counters have proven this stuff doesn't make money. Well, what's making money? Call of Duty. Y'all remember when Xbox had the deal for Call of Duty, right? Y'all remember when play Call of Duty on Xbox got you the DLC and the map packs first. And then that flipped in the PlayStation 4 generation. And that was a big deal. And ever since then, PlayStation has aligned itself so much with Call of Duty, and rightfully so, because they get a 30% rip on everything Call of Duty does on their platform. I say, personally, this deal's not going to end in the next 2 years. I don't think. I mean, we got at least till August. So I think even if they come out on top in August, let's say, hypothetically, they figured it out day one, which will never happen. This will be drawn out for weeks and weeks and weeks. Let's say they figured it out in August. They say, all right, we move forward. We're going to, we're talking into the next physical year before anything goes in. So we're talking 2024 at the very earliest this thing's over. I say personally, let's end it now. Everybody pull out. Let them have it. Let them have the biggest game on any platform, Call of Duty. Let them have the biggest mobile game. Now, the only way to compete, guys, because you may or may not have access to that game and get on your platform, depending on what the owner of the platform or owner of the game wants to do. Now you got to make your own. How cool would it be to have a Sony-made game that rivals Call of Duty? Like they've given up on Resistance and they've given up on Killzone. They gave up on MAG. They gave up on SOCOM. Like, I mean, Sony had some stuff, and not all of it was wonderful, but dude, Resistance is great. I loved all three of those games, especially Part 3. Killzone was great. I loved Shadowfall. And what was it? Shadowfall was the last one? The one on PS4. I love
that was the launch PS4 game, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. They showed so much promise. Like, man, this game is really, really cool, and this is a launch game. Just imagine what the next one's going to be like. And it never came. So, I mean, MAG. I don't know how many of you guys played MAG. I played MAG. That was wild. Freaking 256 or 254 people on a battlefield. You just spawn and die, spawn and die, spawn and die. I mean, it was just like...
Sounds like a lot of fun.
You what?
I said spawn and die sounds like a lot of fun.
Nah, it was fun because it was just like, there's so much... it was never not something to shoot at. It was like, oh, here we go. Boom, let's go shoot stuff. So, I'm saying this. Let them have it. And then fight. Like that's what we want. We all want them to really duke it out. Like we want them to compete with each other, and we want we always throw shade at Microsoft, but like if you ever think about the why, see a lot of people hear me and Tricky throw some shade at Microsoft, and they're like, oh, these freaking Sony pony fanboys. Don't get me wrong, I wear it with pride, but
so do I.
The thing is like it lets like all those studios that you bought in the Xbox One generation. The reason why I'm asking where your games are at is because when you start putting out games and you start putting out quality games, well, then my team's got to rebuttal. If you come out with a 9 or a 10, now I got to look back at my guys and go, hey, where's my 9 or 10? Look what they're doing over there. Like the reason why you put out games is to get people to go buy them. If Xbox start putting out all the games, I mean, they already do, like Matt said, the best subscription service. Game Pass is amazing. I'm a PlayStation Plus Premium subscriber. I was a PS Now subscriber. I've never, ever let my PlayStation Plus lapse since 2012. I mean, I am all in on Plus. I'm all in on Premium, all that stuff. But I just re-upped my Game Pass. You know why? Because that cloud streaming is solid. I have a controller with a mount, and I lay in my bed every now and again, and I put my phone on it, and I play High on Life. And I play a little bit of Gears of War or something. Like I've streamed a handful of games to it. My brother and I were
home on Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you. Sorry to jump in. I'll give you this example. I was out at my dentist waiting for my appointment. Loaded up Skywalker Saga on my phone on a 5G, not a 5G ultra wideband, just a 5G connection. Played Skywalker Saga on my phone out in the wild, perfectly fine. No glitching, no lag. It was amazing.
Yeah. Dude, my son's been playing. We don't even have 5G. We got 4G. And he's able to play in the car. He's got his, and this is the beauty. Listen to me here. This is super important, guys. We are an iPhone family. We're playing Xbox Game Pass on an iPhone with a PlayStation 4 controller. But think about that. Xbox has made it so accessible that they allow all their competitors to play at the same time. So they get my $15 a month. And that's beautiful, man. And that's savage. Like, that's like, from the consumer, it's like, oh, thank you. I mean, that makes sense. Why wouldn't I use the devices I already own? But the real brain power behind it is like, we got the old Sony boy's money over here now. And he's staying with us. Now my son's using it, so I'm not going to turn it off. I'm just like, okay, that's $15 a month. That's what we do now. Granted, there's ways to manipulate it. Gaz was telling me the other day, you buy gold for $60 for the year, and then you wait once then you upgrade for $1. Then you got at Game Pass for $61 for a year. There's what he does it for his son. But I didn't do that. I'm just playing. It's whatever.
All right.
But I say, dude, let them have it. Let's see the competition stir up, because that's what we want as Sony fanboys and trophy whores and trophy chasers and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we want. I want Halo to be great, not just so I can play Halo, but so that now the franchise worldwide Jimmy Ryan, he's got to put a Halo killer out.
And I mean, I've said this on the show, not recently, but as far as the merger goes, it really doesn't affect me personally, because I don't play any of the Activision Blizzard games. I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I don't play, Diablo or StarCraft or anything like that. So there's, and I even said this with the Bethesda purchase, like, that doesn't bother me at all, because I don't play any of the Bethesda games. And I actually thought it was kind of good that Bethesda went to Xbox, because, and I'm not throwing shade, Bethesda games released on the PlayStation console were always broken.
Yeah.
And took a long time for them to fix it. So, like, fine, let them go develop for the console that works for them. And it doesn't affect me. Me, Alex, and Yield, we've said on the show many times, like, we just want this to end already. Either way, either kill it or let it go through. Because at this point, it's like, the longer you drag this out, the more we have to talk about it, so to speak. I mean, we could obviously not talk about it, just not give it any coverage. But this is one of the biggest news stories in the gaming world right now. And if we don't talk about it, then it seems like we're ignoring it.
Yep.
And I think if companies step up, and I said this before on previous shows, if other companies step up, like Google, like NVIDIA, or hell, even like Nintendo, if they step up and say, we're against this, it gives more credibility to Sony, because for the longest time, Sony just seemed like a big crybaby. Like, oh, we're gonna lose Call of Duty, we're gonna do this. And that's what everybody was saying. There is some validity to the argument that this merger should not go through. There's no denying that. But at this point, I just want it to end. Like, let it go through or cancel it.
Well, unfortunately, we get to go through the divorce for a very long time.
Alex, I'm going to circle back to you now, hearing at what Matt and Darrell have said. Do you want to add anything?
I'll just say that, like everyone else, seemingly, I want the deal to go through. I saw something like GameSpot's top 5 games to play on each platform, and I looked at Sony's, and Sony's got Stray, and they got God of War Ragnarok, and they got Horizon Forbidden West, and then you look at Microsoft's, and the games were like nothing particularly impressive. And my first thought when looking at the top 5 games to play, and I'm sorry I don't have the list, in my head immediately, but it was just like, my God, give Microsoft something, throw them a bone, because they got nothing at this point. Hopefully Starfield's good, because you heard, I think it was Aaron Greenberg came out and said he was promising big things for Xbox next year and for Microsoft. And you see all the comments, and people are like, you've been promising this for years. I think that people who play on Microsoft, Game Pass is great. There's no denying that. And I think a lot of people love playing on Game Pass because it gives them cheap access to a lot of different games. That buffet style where you don't leave, with indigestion and feeling like you're going to blow up like a blimp. But at the same time, when you look at Microsoft's offering as a first-party studio, as the games they're offering, there's really nothing for people to play. I mean, sure, Halo and Forza, and you had Psychonauts last year, but this year in particular was a pretty low year as far as what they were outputting. And they have more studios than Sony does now, and Sony's output from the first-party studios is so much better. So it's a situation kind of like Ubisoft, where Microsoft's their oversight on their teams and their control of their first party products. It's just terrible because there's nothing coming out. And you got Starfield, but what else do you have? I think, there's Redfall from Bethesda, which I think is exclusive to the console exclusive to Microsoft.
They are, but those games were in development before the merger and before they bought them. And that's
it's the same with Psychonauts too. And you would say that, and people would be like, Microsoft, gave them extra funds and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great, but these weren't built in house from Microsoft, top to bottom, like a lot of the games that Sony puts out are. So you just look at the first party offerings. It's like, my God, give Microsoft something, because they need Activision at this point. Bethesda's great. But as far as like what Microsoft is putting out first party, good God, I don't think, and that's why I don't really, it's not just that I don't play the Activision games. It's more so that when you look at Sony is having a hard time making this argument, at least to me, because what they have to put out for their own software is so worlds better than Microsoft, just worlds above it. So honestly, I don't see, even if Microsoft has some of the stuff exclusive, it's not going to hurt Sony, because Microsoft, really, if anything, Microsoft needs something. That's really the one thing that's holding Microsoft back. It's not their cloud services. It's not sure, they could be doing more on mobile. It's not the Game Pass. It's really, that's what's boosting them. And what is holding them back is their first party software. That's where they're lagging really, really bad, which happens to be where Sony's really good, and Sony's lagging behind on the stuff like Game Pass. So I'm sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just say, so before we close out this topic and the show, I'll just ask you guys one question, and I'll start with Darrell, then I'll go to Matt, then I'll go to Alex. What do you guys say about the criticism when it comes to Microsoft, that Microsoft is buying studios to get talent rather than developing it in-house and producing their own games, that they're trying to buy their way into good games instead of actually developing good games and actually doing it themselves?
Well, they got to start somewhere. And I get that we live in a world where Sony has already purchased their studios and pumped out multiple games and franchises with their studios. So for us, it's very easy to go, well, that's, you're just trying to buy out the competition because you can't do it yourself. And that is technically correct, because right now they can't. But that won't always be the case. So I say buy whoever you got to buy, pump out, start getting some games going. I personally just want to see them start to put some stuff out and put some decent stuff out. And then, just like my argument with Psychonauts was, and Starfield and Redfall, these games were in development before they were purchased. There's going to come a day where these games are going to come out, and that won't be the case anymore. So, sure, is that what it is? Yeah. But is that a bad thing? No. I mean, you got to start somewhere. And they just didn't have anything. They didn't. And they closed down the studios. In my opinion, they closed down some of the studios like Lionhead that was awesome making the Fable games. I just, I was like, they got to re-up, And Sony's bought some studios over the years, and it's like they didn't always put out their first game, was not a Sony, in-house game, but they eventually, look at Insomniac, putting games out with Sony for years, put a game out with Microsoft, then came over to Sony and put out some bangers. Now, I would argue that Insomniac's one of the best studios Sony has right now. They are just banger after banger.
I think Insomniac and Naughty Dog are fighting at the top for the best PlayStation studio right now.
Yeah, I think Ghost of Tsushima I love everything Sucker Punch has done in the past decade, dude. I mean, Infamous 2, Festival of Blood, Ghost of Tsushima, Last Light, those are all stellar games. So, I mean, Sony has, there's like Alex said, there's just we're not running out of things to play and of quality, but you can't say that with a competitor, and it's so sure, they went after the two of the biggest, and one of them being the biggest fish in the sea. So you're going to get some flack for that, and you deserve to get some flack for that. But you know what? When it's all said and done, it's up to you to do some of those IP, because it's not even the big ones that everyone's arguing over, the obvious stuff. It's the IP that they're getting with it. That's what's really, really crucial, in my opinion. They're going to own some awesome IP, awesome franchises, and it's up to Microsoft to then manage those teams, spread the wealth, and produce good games. And right now, we just haven't seen it. So I'm really hoping if I listen to, I say this, I try to say this often on my show, just because I don't always come off as this like Sony pony, even though that's really what I am. Like I listen to a couple different Xbox podcasts, not as much lately as I used to, but I listen to X1 Bros, which is a very positive, upbeat Xbox podcast, and I listen to Defining Duke, which is in the Sacred Symbols Network. They're still pretty upbeat and positive over Xbox. They don't tend to beat up on them too much. Either way, every year for the past five plus years, this is the year that we're going to get all the games. This is the year that we're going to get all the games. No. This is the year. I swear, if you go back and you play the episodes from each January, they're saying the same thing because they're still waiting on their games, and I feel bad for them. So,
all right, Matt.
So I've been on winning and losing sides of the console wars, and I always frankly thought it was probably the stupidest thing ever to call them console wars because each side has their pros and their cons. I mean, when PlayStation and Sega Saturn came out, I went in with Sega Saturn. We saw how that turned out. Went with the PlayStation. I never had an N64 when I was a kid. I still actually don't have one now. But I also bought a GameCube. So there you go, Darrell. When you're out hunting, if you find a nice cheap N64, let me know. Not even a working one, just one I can put on display.
okay.
But I got my GameCube, I got my Wii, I got my Wii U, I bought the Switch. I went with Xbox 360 over the PlayStation 3, even though I had a PlayStation 2 for years and then bought myself an Xbox. Darrell mentioned it earlier. You got to start somewhere. And looking at the at the studio Sony has bought, 2021 Blue Point Games, also 2021 Fire Sprite. 2005 is when they acquired Guerrilla. Guerrilla was not originally a Sony studio. Housemarque in 2021, Insomniac Games 2019, Media Molecule in 2010, Naughty Dog 2001, Nix's Software, studio known for porting games to Microsoft Windows, development support, and game optimization. So they could use that to start making more ports of their games, which we've seen coming over to Windows, which, hey, Sony, like money? Sell games on PC, for God's sake. Savage Game Studios, 2022, mobile game development. So, okay, Xbox and Microsoft is getting king. Do something with Savage. Like, put your money where your mouth is and do something. Sucker Punch Productions, bought back in 2011. Valkyrie Entertainment, 2021. Sony Santa Monica, for the God of War series. They've recently, I don't think it's finished, but the Bungie deal, what's going on with that?
That's done.
That's done. Okay, well, it wasn't on the list here, but the idea is they still bought it. So, to Darrell's point, and I really like it, is that, listen, I understand why we have the anti-monopoly laws and things like that here in the U.S., and we're not talking about mom and pop shops not being able to start up their own xCloud gaming service. We're talking about NVIDIA and Sony. As mentioned, Sony bought Gaikai so they could develop their PlayStation Now service. And from what I understand, it's good. I personally don't use it. But to what Darrell said earlier, xCloud is so easy to use, and you can jump right in and jump right out. I can't tell you how many times I had decision anxiety being like, what am I going to play? Yep. There's no true bangers on my Xbox list, but I'm looking at my Xbox Game Pass app on my PC. Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Halo the Master Chief Collection, High on Life, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, Metal Hellsinger, No Man's Sky, Proteus, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Tetris Effect Connected, Tunic, Warhammer, 40K Darktide. Those are all really high quality games. I mean, not Warhammer 40K, that game is glitch filled, but it's still a decent game. I will say I have multiple PCs in my house. I have an Xbox Series X. I have a PlayStation 5. I can't tell you the last time I turned on a Series X because I have my PC. But people not as lucky as me to have the types of PCs that I have, the Xbox still has a lot to be able to play. I had wanted to play Jedi Fallen Order for the longest time, and if it didn't have my PC, I'd be playing it on my Xbox. So there's games out there if you're going to look. But yes, they're buying all these studios. Now do something with them. Release the games. How long, I mentioned earlier, how long have we been waiting on something about Hellblade Senua's Saga? You know, the first Senua's Sacrifice was a really good game. A lot of people love it. And they've been waiting for Senua's Saga to come out. And nothing. They bought Ninja Theory. And they said, this is the prime game we're going to offer on this one as one of the first offerings from this purchase. And nothing. I don't have an issue with them making games like Starfield exclusive, because Sony buys studios and makes games exclusive on their platform all the time. Can you go play Spider-Man on an Xbox? No. Only recently did Sony come around and go, hey, we're going to put it on PC so that way some other people can play it. But sometimes those ports, like Horizon Zero Dawn, started off really poor. Them and Days Gone had a really rocky launch on the PC at start. And they're starting to get better at releasing these games. Miles Morales came out recently, and that was actually pretty good. It irks me that everybody is against this Microsoft acquisition because, well, they're going to make games exclusive. Yeah, because that's what they do. That's how they get you onto their platform. Sony's been doing that for years, and nobody's going.
Can I stop you for a second there, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, I'm not throwing shade, okay? But one of the criticisms with Xbox is, like you said, they're going to make their games exclusive. But Microsoft has also shifted to, we're also going to release every game on the PC. So their games are not really exclusive because you could go out and buy a half-decent PC and be able to play those games as well.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. I think I actually take the bigger issue with them saying, we're going to make sure Starfield is not exclusive. And then they change their story. But I also don't remember them saying we're not going to make Starfield exclusive. So if anybody can point me to an article, I'd really love. Well,
they said when they announced Starfield that it was coming to all consoles. Now, granted, okay.
Before the purchase, though.
I'm sorry?
Before
right.
Microsoft
now,
bought the game. Yeah.
Right, but now granted, and this is just a conspiracy theory, I have no proof of this, but one would ascertain that as they were doing that press conference, the deal for Bethesda had to have been in the works already. So they had to have known that when they were making the announcement that it was coming to all platforms, in the back of their minds, they're going, but we're about to be purchased by Microsoft, so it may not be all platforms.
Yeah, but as a PR rep, you can't go out there and exclude something like that, because a deal like that being done behind the scenes could potentially ruin the deal or could potentially give way of the deal.
But you also
and therefore allow people to jump in and
right. But you also don't need to use terminology. You know that they're coming out and they don't have to announce a platform. If you come out and say it's coming to all consoles, then you're making a statement where they could just simply omitted where it's being released. And then as the announcement for the purchase comes through, you turn around and say, okay, well, now is it going to be exclusive to Xbox?
Yeah, and I chalk that up more towards caution on Bethesda's part, because they're going to make the announcement that'll net them the biggest news, but ultimately it then falls on Microsoft, because they could go, hey, when we were independent, we wanted to make it available. Now it's Microsoft's fault. And I think Microsoft knew what they were doing in that case, and that they could turn around and say, well, okay, yeah, we'll take the blame for that. Whatever, we're getting Bethesda.
Yeah, but Bethesda also can't throw Microsoft under the bus after being newly purchased by them.
Exactly.
Well, it was funny because the language changed, because they announced Starfield and they announced all those games, Elder Scrolls 6, all that stuff. And then once they were acquired, then everybody started pressing Phil Spencer, and then he started saying these games will be available where Game Pass is available, and I was just like,
See, and also when he said that, if you guys remember, the rumor is that Microsoft was trying to get Game Pass on the PlayStation consoles.
Yeah. So I think I love Phil Spencer as a PR guy, but also like all PR guys, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Him, Jim Ryan, Sean Layden before them. Like, I remember, oh God, I was watching something and I saw it was decades ago now, and it was pre-CEO Phil Spencer. And hearing something, what he was saying, whatever it was like, wow, you were a totally different guy back then. And now you're framing yourself as the people's gaming champion.
He's coming off like a kiss ass.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I know you're going to say whatever keeps you in your position and nets you the most amount of money for your company. So anything these guys say, I take with the lens of you're speaking because you want to take us gamers for the most money possible. Because everybody knows at some point Game Pass is going to have a price hike. And I'm not saying it's going to even be like a $5 hike. I'm thinking we're getting a $15 hike at some point. Everybody knows, everybody talks about how Game Pass is probably not profitable and that it needs to do something to make up the loss. It's a loss leader. It's like Costco's hot dogs, just get you through the door.
This is the second time today.
You get a hot dog and a Pepsi. Like, you can't do that anywhere.
This is the second time I heard about this deal at Costco. What the hell's going on at Costco with the hot dogs?
$1.50. Inflation hasn't changed its thing. Since I've known of Costco. $1.50 gets you an 18-inch hot dog and a fountain drink.
I love one of the greatest quotes on record. It's on record, and you can look at this. Is that the CEO of Costco said, "You are not changing the price of the hot dog. If you change the price of the hot dog, I'm going to fucking kill you."
All right. All right, let's get back on track. Alex, what do you say to the criticism that Microsoft is purchasing developers rather than develop them in-house?
Well, I think anyone who makes that comment is ignorant to the fact that Sony has purchased most of its talent, its studios, didn't own Naughty Dog, had to buy Naughty Dog, didn't own Sucker Punch, didn't own Insomniac, didn't own Guerrilla, didn't own Housemarque, didn't own Savage, didn't own Bungie. Basically, everyone but San Diego, London, and then maybe Santa Monica. I think all the others had to be purchased, right? Because Media Molecule was purchased. So most of the studios that they own were by purchases, just like Microsoft is doing now. So it's kind of ridiculous to make fun of Microsoft for that when Sony's been doing that all along. Now, Sony did a much better job of that, and they did it earlier than Microsoft.
And they also spread it out over 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and they definitely picked them up over the last couple of years. But, yeah, it's one of those things where both companies have done it. They both bolstered their development talent by buying studios. So why is Microsoft wrong for doing it and Sony's right? They've both done the same thing. So I think that people who make that claim and lobby that criticism of Microsoft need to re-examine the argument, because I think there's no argument there. So,
all right.
Because no company is going to start out with all of their talent and everybody there. They're going to look to make acquisitions, and video game industry is booming for acquisitions right now. So,
well, listen, I hear you, and I agree with you on the fact, but I think the criticism is coming now because, as Darrell pointed out, Sony's been in the lead for so long, and one of the criticisms of Microsoft has always been, well, you guys aren't putting out good games. And I use that with quotation marks because, some games are good, but I'm talking like when you talk about Sony and you hear about games like Horizon, The Last of Us, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima, when you hear about those games, every one of those games is held in such high regard, and it's always at the Game of the Year conversations. It's always part of the best games ever made conversations. And again, I'm not throwing shade at Microsoft, but how many Microsoft games can you say that about? Maybe a Halo, maybe a Gears of War, maybe Forza, but you can't talk about it in such a large capacity, where now it seems like Phil Spencer, who I personally think is just being a kiss ass and trying to, sucker up, kiss the asses of all gamers by saying, oh, well, we got to do crossplay. We have to do this. We have to do that. And he's trying to throw Sony under the bus. But then when God of War Ragnarok comes out, he puts out a tweet, congratulations, Sony, on releasing God of War Ragnarok, one of the best games I've ever played. He's playing both sides of the fence too much. And now Phil Spencer's going out and is trying to buy the biggest game franchise of all time, but it's masked under, we're buying Activision Blizzard. But no, in reality, what he's doing is buying Call of Duty. I mean,
well, there's arguments to be made that and this argument has been made that they really are buying Candy Crush. So that's what the main thing they're looking to buy, not necessarily Call of Duty. I mean, they definitely want both, but I mean, whether you like Phil Spencer or not, I mean, who knows? We don't know if he's being genuine or not. You would hope he's being genuine, but don't you want to see game companies congratulate each other and play nice, so to speak, rather than beat each other's throats and throw out little quips and stuff like that? Like, oh, we have backwards compatibility, screw those guys. I mean, isn't it nice not to have the game companies fueling the fanboy wars like what's happened for so long?
Nah, I want them to fan it. Let's go. Duke it out. Put the gloves on. Let's freaking fight.
all right.
I'm here.
Hell in a Cell, Jim Ryan versus Phil Spencer. Premium live event.
I'm taking Jim Ryan.
Because you're a Sony pony.
Hey, got a rep for the home team.
All right, let's close out the show because we're getting to that time, and Al has to edit this weekend, and he doesn't like editing shows over 2 hours. Let's close it out with some shout-outs. Darrell, we'll start with you, sir.
I'll give a shout out to you guys. Thank you for having me. Shout out to my boy Matt over there for all the times that he's come in clutch and filled in with the Loot Bros. I'm going to give a shout out to the community, the proven loot horror community. That's pretty good, actually.
Think about that on the fly.
all the fantastic events we're running and all the competitions and all that good stuff, man. I'm really excited. Thank you. A shout out to Gareth for putting together that nice little bit of audio, kind of breaking everything down. And yeah, guys, go check out Resident Darrell on YouTube. I'm out buying games and dumpster diving, looking for crazy cool stuff. And it's getting wild out there.
All right, Matt.
Shout out to you all. I really do truly appreciate being a part of both these communities, both the Loot Bros and Proven Gamer. I love podcasting with you guys, getting to talk shop. Alex, Tricky, thank you very much for allowing me on here as much as you guys do. Darrell, my boy, thank you very much for letting me be part of the Loot Bros community. I don't particularly need anything, but as always, I will give a shout out to my wife, V, and her streaming on twitch.tv/gamerveranza, VERANZA. If you can give her a follow, I'm sure she'd appreciate it. She plays a lot of slice of life games, some Pokemon, some MMOs, and she mostly streams nights during the weekdays. So if you see her on, just give her a follow. She's got some really good content out there. But again, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
I second that.
Alex?
Let me give a shout out to the fans, the fuel to the fire of this Trophy Horrors, our wonderful community, as my cat coughs in the background. I need to get these cats out of here.
I told you the cats are assholes.
She did that on purpose.
She can't help it.
She waited until you unmuted your mic to do that. She's like,
her respiratory, she's got serious respiratory issues. But yeah, I mean, cats, they don't understand. They don't understand professional podcasting, which we don't apparently understand either. But
speak for yourself.
What, Tricky?
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. I podcast from work. I podcast from the snowplow truck that I'm driving.
I podcast during Ranger playoff games. I podcast during Giant playoff games.
Well, are you
I'm a professional.
Shade at somebody for not being here to podcast?
Absolutely.
Well, you can guess who that is, folks. Gladly, luckily, he's not going to listen to this. So.
He's not going to listen to the show, so I'm not worried about any feedback unless somebody from the audience tells him. Which I'm sure this.
On you.
I'm sure the second this show posts on Wednesday, somebody's going to turn around and say, "Hey, Yield, Tricky was talking shit about you."
Yeah. Yeah. But no, our community is awesome. Thank you all very much. Not only just the Trophy Horse community, but also the support we get from the Loot Bros community. Thank you all very much. Second week in a row that Darrell is on the show. Great to have him on as always. Matt being on the show, bringing not only his Zelda knowledge, but all the knowledge that he's accrued from over his years of gaming. And even though Tricky's being a dick to him at the start, I'm glad Matt stuck around to have a good podcast episode. What are you laughing at? It's on tape. It is real. Roll back the tape. You were being a jerk.
I was not being a jerk. I was stating a fact.
Judges, go play the tape. Play it back. But yeah, our community is awesome. So thank you all for pushing us beyond 550, and however far we decide to take this thing, it'll be because of you all. So we love you guys. Give a shout out to Tricky. Give a shout out to Yield, who is watching his Bengals play tonight. A shout out to specifically Matt G and to Darrell for filling in and helping us record this fantastic, very professional sounding podcast, more than just me and Tricky arguing, which is just the usual case. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my loving and awesome girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, honey. And yeah, that's going to be my shout outs.
Ashley in the chat says, leave my kitty girl alone. She had a hard life living outside and has respiratory issues. Yeah,
she survived. She had a hard life, and she survived the mean streets of the east side of Louisville, Kentucky. So it's rough out there.
How mean could those streets be? I mean, it is Kentucky.
Well, I mean, she did live in a sewer, so.
Hey, so did the turtles in Splitter, and they did all right.
Yeah, but she's got no mutagen.
Well,
So,
I got too much of a laugh out of Darrell for that one.
It's good.
Want to give a shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the goddess who's behind me and yelling at me because I'm taking too long on this podcast and she wants her Wendy's.
What about The Last of Us? Last of Us premieres tonight.
Yes, I'm 23 minutes late for the delay. I think I'm going to have to wait for the show to end for it to be on HBO Max, but I'm hoping I can go over there and just start watching it. Shout out to all the listeners. Thank you very much. Shout out to Skins. Shout out to Latin Legacy. Shout out to Neptune Princess 86. Shout out to Matt G. Shout out to Nitro. Shout out to Batchild, who just came into the chat, who always seems to come in the chat as we're closing out the show. Love you, Batchild. Shout out to Darrell and for Matt, both filling in last minute on the show because Yield wanted to be a punk ass bitch and go watch some football. With that said, if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Veers. Permission granted by the band and Corkstone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.